Anything special about Shania?
I love her.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah, she's the best.
She is really good.
Don't impress me much.
Any man of mine.
Yeah. No.
Didn't she forget how to sing because she got dumped?
I don't know.
I think she did. I think that it took her voice away. Heartbreak took her voice away.
I feel like a woman. On today's Part of My Take, we have an awesome recap of the U.S. Open with Smylie Kaufman, who was there. He was part of the NBC coverage. He was 10 feet behind Bryson and Rory as both of those guys came down the stretch for the U.S. Open, which was incredible. We're going to talk about everything that came out of that. We got to talk about Game 4 that happened on Friday night. Hank is back. We're going to talk about Game 4 for the Stanley Cup Final. We got some great Who's Back. We got a Monday reading and an extra bonus. We have Mike Florio on because we missed talking about football, and it was great to talk some ball with Mike Florio before we go into the lull period, the phase me period, which you'll find out what that is, of teams breaking for minicamp for the summer. So great show for you, and it's brought to you by our friends at DraftKings. We're this close to crowning an NBA champ, and with the action heating up on the court, it's even hotter at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. And DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered every step of the way with same-game parlays, live betting odds boosts, and so much more. Don't miss out as the NBA postseason winds down. It's super easy to get started with DraftKings if you're a first-timer. Try betting on something like a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. It's that simple. Celtics, I think, are 6.5-point favorites on Monday night. I believe they're going to win by a lot. And if you're new to DraftKings, you got to check this out. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code TAKE. That's code TAKE for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Okay, let's go. Welcome to Pardon My Take, presented by DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code TAKE. That's code TAKE for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Today is Monday, June 17th, and holy shit, boys, that was one hell of a U.S. Open. Sunday afternoon, Father's Day, Bryson DeChambeau wins the U.S. Open. Rory McIlroy chokes the U.S. Open. But more than anything, I love sports.
It was great. It was an iconic back nine, and then to see how it unfolded with Rory looking over his shoulder at Bryson the entire time, Bryson mugging for the camera,
yes,
and also Bryson going back to when he played injured on Saturday.
The hip.
He had the hip. He said he was playing at about 80% this weekend, but you had like drone cameras through the treetops, seeing Bryson getting his leg worked on. It was a very, very good weekend of golf.
It was like the perfect. Pinehurst was incredible because it was a great test. We talked about it being borderline. There were moments where it was borderline, maybe over the line. Guys hitting shots within like 10 feet of the hole and then having it roll all the way back down. But more than anything, it was just what you want in a major Sunday. And it was a guy, Bryson, who going into Sunday, it was like, he's definitely going to win. He's got a 3-shot lead. No one can figure out this golf course. And then you have the flip where there was that moment where Bryson went to 6 under, Rory went to 8 under. You're like, holy shit, this is going to happen. And then they get back together, tied at 6 under, and going down the stretch. And Rory missing 2 putts within 5 feet, 4 feet.
I think they were, yeah. The first one was about 2.5, I think.
Yeah.
Second one was like 3.5.
Listen, I know there was a lot said about afterwards because Rory skipped media. He here's one dramatic reading from a reporter on site. This is from Steve Reed, AP. He said Rory McIlroy threw his clubs in the back of a tournament-sponsored Lexus.
Oh my God!
Backed out of the parking lot and spun his tires a little getting out of the parking lot.
Yeah.
He did not talk. Spun his tires a little. Would that not be how a car goes?
That's how a car moves. 6 minutes after DeChambeau makes winning putt, Rory spins tires on way out of town. And if you saw the video, it was worse than that description. They also squeaked a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah, and then the camera, whoever was filming it, did a nice little touch because as the car drives away, going probably 10 miles an hour, the camera guy goes, whoa. Like he almost got hit by it.
Yeah.
And it was scenes of Scotty Scheffler before the PGA Championship. I thought that maybe there's some bystanders that might have been in trouble there.
Yeah.
And then we had people watching Rory and his progress to his private jet, and then flight tracker systems tracking Rory's private jet and seeing that he was in the air, I believe, before Bryson's acceptance speech.
Yeah.
So he was a poor sport.
He was a poor sport. We also had this is another we had video of it, and Jay Busby said Rory McIlroy leaving the clubhouse, he got into his car and drove off.
Yeah, well, the tires spun.
Yeah. Usually when you get in your car, you drive off. Yeah, poor sport. If you note, the majority of the poor sport claims are coming from the media itself, who Rory didn't talk to. I propose, so I have no problem with this. I understand I would like to hear from him. We will hear from him at some point. I was thinking about it. The way Rory lost that tournament and the putts that he missed and the 10 years that it's been since he won a major. And Bryson, who we'll get to, having like an about face where he's the people's champ out there on the course, which if you said that 4 years ago, you'd be like, no fucking way.
I would be like, the people suck.
Yeah, yeah, right. The people have been lead poisoned.
Yes.
All of that, and you put it into a bottle, and you say, Rory, we want you to stick around and drink this bottle while reporters say what was going through your head on 18. That is actually worse than any torture that you could ever come up with, like ever. So as much as you want to claim poor sport, I think that every athlete should get one a year where they can just say, I'm not doing this. And this and if you don't use it, you lose it, so you don't get carryover, but you get one a year where you can just be like, nope, no mas, I can't do it. Because I would, if I were Rory and I had to sit there and have Bryson come up to me and be like, that was an incredible fight you put up. You know what? Oh, you played so great. I wish two of us could have won this. And then go sit and have some reporter say, Rory, talk me through what happened with that putt that you missed. I'd kill myself.
Yeah, well,
I would. You can't do that. You got to get in your Lexus, your tournament sponsored Lexus, and spin those tires and get the fuck out of Dodge.
Can you imagine if on this show, because we are members of the media,
yeah,
on this show, if one of us was like a real big winner, and then we made the person who was a big loser sit while the big winner talked about how big of a winner they were. And we did that for like 30 minutes and then asked the loser to give us comment on that.
Right.
How terrible that we would never do something like that because we care too much for the people that we work with. But for some reason, golf media wants that to happen, and it could never be us.
And the loser then just doesn't show up for the next show.
Yeah, no, that would be
right.
We're not going to get into that territory.
Right.
That's not how we operate.
Right, that's not how we operate.
We operate with a little bit more class. And it's also very funny that it goes back to like the Marshawn Lynch Super Bowl days or Cam Newton when he skipped the press conference afterwards. The media gets so mad at the player, and then they have all their articles about how this person didn't give them anything to write about.
Right.
And Rory gave everybody so much more stuff to write about,
right? So
much more stuff to talk about by not answering questions than he did if he had stuck around and just given like deadpan answers of credit to Bryson. He played really, really well. Of course, I'm disappointed, very upset that I missed those putts. You know, it's one of those things. Golf's a hard game. That's what Rory would have said. I just did his press conference right there.
Yeah,
golf is a hard game. It's tough to get this close. Credit to Bryson. He played really, really well. I'm very happy for him and happy for golf. That's what he would have said.
Yeah.
Okay? That's the press conference. But the fact that Rory sped away like Rashee Rice in the parking lot and could have murdered people on his way out, that gives the reporters way more stuff to talk about and way more of a storyline.
And more than anything, it gives them a soapbox and a moral high ground to be like, you didn't let us do our job. But you're right. That the story is that Rory, and it's a ridiculous story because I really do think that there should just be maybe there's someone who has to judge it, and you like it's almost going to the booth in Toronto or the NFL when they do a replay. We just have someone who's watching every sporting event, and they just get to judge like, all right, that was actually such a painful loss. They shouldn't have to talk because You can't have a more painful loss than what he had.
Yeah, what are we missing out on by not hearing Rory talk? I want to know. Rick Riley is probably mad at Rory because how is he going to make puns about Rory after the game or after the match when he didn't hear him talk afterwards? Tell you what, Rick Riley, I will give you your lead.
Yeah,
Rory can't find the hole from within 4 feet twice. Boy, I feel sorry for his ex-wife.
Ex-wife.
Yeah, there you go, Rick.
2 negatives make a positive.
He had a tweet about the collapse.
Oh, what'd he say?
Yeah.
Poor Rory. Golf is the cruelest game. It will pants you in front of the whole schoolyard, then steal your lunch money.
Oh,
Hashtag US Open.
Damn. Sounds a little personal, Rick.
Wait, so Rick's talking
Sounds
about
a little personal.
like
The game of golf being
he
a
would get
bully.
pants.
like 15-year-old Rory McIlroy's penis. Is what
Wait,
he's
but
talking
that's
about.
actually not right because a pantsing with full balls flopping out is so funny. This wasn't funny. This was tragic. Like if you pantsed Rory and his dick and balls flopped out for everyone to see, that's one of the funniest moments of all time. Like if you really pants someone and you get the boxers too,
Yeah, it's happened to me.
that's fucking hilarious. You can't tell me differently.
Wait, Jake, you've been pantsed?
Yeah, we talked
Like
about it on
balls
the show.
flopping out. Yeah,
Full balls.
We were playing pickup ball, me and my
Pickup
friends
ball.
at home.
Uh-huh.
It just
You got
happened
it.
when we were in transition.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh, you were in transition, so
No
there was
balls.
no penis there.
No balls.
We were in transition on the basketball
Oh,
court.
okay, got
Yeah,
it. Yeah, no, so PFT, you're exactly right that when the story now, for all the reporters being like, you didn't let us do our job, we don't have a story to write about, now you're going to write about this story, how you didn't get to talk to Rory. And on top of that, Rory is going to talk to someone, probably do like, a profile or just, one of these insider guys is going to reach out to him in 3 days, and there's going to be a long story about how disappointed he is, and we're going to get even more content out of it. Like 4 days from now, we're going to get a Rory story that we can talk about.
He'll be like, I'm sorry that I left this early.
Yeah, right.
I was in a very emotional state, and then he'll do like that whole thing. Or he could just answer a reporter's text message like Brooks.
Yeah.
Actually, should we text Brooks
I got
to see what his reaction about Rory
right, I'll
leaving
text
early
him.
was?
All right, I'm going to text him. I'll say, Woody, we're doing the show right now. We're looking for comment on what Rory would have thought.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Hank, give us your thoughts while I text this, because you're the big golfer. And also congratulations on your Bryson win.
Yeah, Bryson been riding him every major this year. 2 top 5s, 1 today. Felt like he was going to lose all day. Once he went down to, he couldn't hit a drive straight. I was kind of worried about him just switching driver. Like they said, he never swung this driver before until the first tee shot, which was a little alarming.
Stay woke on that. We've got a theory with Smylie.
Yeah, I actually like this theory a lot. That will be his next YouTube video is going to be such a banger.
Yes.
Whatever it is, it's just going to be like,
I think
I won the U.S. Open.
He won the U.S. Open for the content.
But it was, he was hitting it out of the shit every single hole, still making birdies, unbelievable win. And, Rory is fun to root against. He's kind of, like, I have never necessarily been a huge Rory fan.
Yeah.
And in sports, it's always fun. Maybe I'm just a hater, but
Yes.
I always, as much as I like rooting for the people I like to root for, I love rooting against people too, like LeBron. Rory is not as bad, but, like, it's kind of fun to watch someone choke.
Yeah, and this was an ultimate Live versus PGA showdown.
Yeah.
And your Live boys came up big.
You are a live head.
Wait, I thought we were told that when a Live guy won a major, we would get all the other Live guys on the green waiting for him.
Well,
Like big
Brooks
group-
won last year.
Brooks did tweet right away. He
Oh, yeah?
congratulated
They
him.
rallied?
Yeah. It was actually a great tweet. It said, welcome to the club, 2-time U.S. Open champ.
That's very nice of him.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I saw Dustin Johnson wearing the Four Aces polo.
Oh,
when he was
nice.
playing earlier this week, so that reminded me to ask Hank who the Four Aces are.
4 aces are Dustin Johnson, Patrick Reed, Pat Perez.
It's a guy who his dad owns something, right?
No, I think they had a trade. I'm looking at it now.
Yeah,
it's not a guy who's been
Is
on the
it
team
Matthew
before.
something?
No, you're thinking Matthew Wolf.
Oh, man, Hank.
Is he
DJ,
good?
Pat Perez, Patrick Reed. When I say the name, you'll be like, yeah, I know him.
Is it Patrick?
No,
I don't know.
Harold Warner III.
Oh.
Ah.
Yeah.
Bryson. So that he has done the full JJ Watt rehabilitation where the crowd was going crazy for him. And we're going to get into it more with Smylie on why he's been able to turn. Bryson has changed who he is. Like the revisionist history, I know there's a few hardcore Bryson fans, and they should take the victory lap right now. But it's not like, oh, we were all wrong about Bryson. I think Bryson realized that he was really annoying, and he's adapted and done a really good job about it. Like it was fun watching him play golf. We had this take for the Masters, so this isn't just because he won. We said that we were kind of slowly becoming Bryson fans. Thankfully, Brooks, they've squashed the beef, but he is fun to watch.
I think it's because he has a fan base now.
Yeah.
And when he's happy, when he has people behind him, he becomes more likable. It's when he doesn't have a built-in fan base that he's trying so very hard to be the cool guy and to be the guy that's like, breaking all the rules, doing all the weird shit. That's the part of Bryson that makes you be like, this guy's really, really strange.
Right.
But when he's actually having fun, Bryson seems like a good dude. And I'll give him credit. I watch his YouTube videos a lot. I've seen a lot of them. He's pretty good. They're pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
They're engaging. He was like interacting with the fans a bunch this weekend. And when he's not fighting with the fans, when they're on his side, he's a very interesting guy to observe. And I kind of like him. I think he's good for golf.
Well,
sure.
his game is fun. He smashes the ball. He makes crazy shots.
He screams at his ball.
He screams at the ball. He was interacting with the crowd unlike any other contending player that I can ever remember. And it's interesting and it's fun and it's unique, and he has completely changed. And I found myself, I did bet on him because I got in Hank's hole. No big deal. He would never do that for me. I found myself rooting for him because he's interesting. And I think it's the classic story arc that guy gets torn down and then he builds himself back up and you root for it. It's kind of like you were just saying, Hank, that you root against Rory. I found myself rooting against Rory. I think I'll root for Rory the next time because this was so tragic.
Even after he threw his clubs in the company, the tour-sponsored vehicle.
And spun off.
And spun the wheels. Yeah.
I think like this.
Yeah.
That's how sports work.
Yeah,
like you take the shit, and then when you then have to climb back on top of the mountain, the story becomes, it's just a deeper, more interesting story. Bryson is an interesting story now that has like chapters and layers to it. Yeah, there's some weird things that are still being, ironed out where he's like, hey, I went to SMU because of Payne Stewart. And they're like, but I also found out Payne Stewart went there after I'd already shown up. Whatever. Bryson is trying his best. And I think he's actually enjoying playing golf and enjoying interacting with the fans. And I found myself being like thoroughly entertained. And that's what sports are about.
He had a couple awesome shots on 18. The one where the tree was in his backswing. And everybody watching that was like, he's going to hit the tree.
Yeah.
It was like when Hank and you were behind it. By the way, one of my favorite parts of that video.
I know.
So in the video that we put out, the John Daly Challenge, Hank was about to take a shot. Most of the comments were, how can Hank be so bad at golf when he plays so much?
Yeah.
Also,
Fair.
people complaining about Snickers ice cream bars, and those people, I love you for watching, but holy fuck, you need to get your head checked.
No, but
that was the biggest issue of your life.
But I love the fact that they care so.
Yeah,
very
no,
deeply
I
at
do
calling
too.
us. It keeps us honest, honestly.
Yeah, it does. But also, I just imagined someone typing out like, this whole thing is bullshit. It was Snickers ice cream
bars, yeah,
and then like stomping off to bed.
Yeah.
I actually love that visual.
I respect it.
Okay, yeah,
I respect it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so on this one sequence in the John Daly Challenge video, Hank has a tree in his backswing. Big Cat, as a good teammate, I'm not going to say whether or not Hank would do the same thing for Big Cat, but Big Cat sees that, gets out, fights the tree off for Hank, beat the shit out of the tree. Hank has a beautiful backswing, no tree in the area. Big Cat steps up, takes his shot from the same area. Hank does not repay the favor. The tree assaults Big Cat. It was like Angel Reese against Caitlin Clark. Mm-hmm. Big Cat gets bodied by this tree, and then Big Cat screams at Hank for not fighting off the tree, which is a fair complaint. Fair. And then Big Cat's like, I can't believe I would kill any tree for my guys. Then me and Big Cat drive off in our golf cart, and Big Cat immediately drives me into a tree.
Yeah, I spun off, and he went right into a tree. Oh, no. Hey, get this Hey, hold on. Tree out of here. That's up. That tree got in his fucking backswing. Oh, you need me to go after the tree again? Oh, Hank!
Yes, Hank.
Hank!
Yes, Hank.
Hank!
Yes.
Get up the bunker.
Bonky?
I don't know.
I mean, it was a great shot.
It was a very good shot.
Wasn't bad.
Nothing to hang your head
You
on.
want to say thank you for beating up that tree?
Thank you for beating up that tree. That made the whole.
You're welcome. Oh, Hank, why did you get the tree for me?
I'm sorry. I thought you were going to set up so you didn't hit the tree. That's my bad. That's my bad.
I'm selfless. I see a tree and I fight it. Then I get up there, I fight the tree by myself. That was a great lesson on friendship right there, everyone saw. I'll hop in someone's hole, I'll beat up a tree, I won't do shit for you. I'll just sit back and watch as the tree just bodies me. It's crazy.
This is a
That was crazy. I showed him how to beat up a tree, and he just...
It was awesome.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But I would fight any tree for anyone. I didn't see that tree. You also were kind of leaning a little out.
Yeah, you were man-spreaded. So
Yeah, I was man-spreaded.
But so Bryson
Eating
has
a lot of Snickers.
Bryson has the
Ice cream bar.
Bryson's got the tree in his backswing. Nobody thinks he can get the ball out because it's like buried, and Bryson was in the native area the entire weekend. It was crazy. He was just like, fuck it, I'll hit into the bush. So he gets out, gets to the bunker, and then hits one of the greatest bunker shots that you'll ever see under the circumstances, and then drains the putt. The ending of that tournament was what golf should be about.
Yeah.
Because not only do you have Bryson doing all this cool shit, but you've also got the multicam. You've got the picture-in-picture of Rory watching on what I have to assume is a tiny TV in the very sad back room where they sign their golf. And you can see him, he's rooting so hard against Bryson, but he can't outwardly be like, come on, miss it, because he's a golfer and you have to be a good sport.
Yeah.
So you get to see the putt, you get to see the heartbreak all in one. It was just awesome TV.
The whole thing was incredible. We also had, did you see that we had a, who's better to the fans contest going down the stretch?
Yeah, I did see that.
There was a guy who was in a wheelchair, and it was like Rory gave him a ball, and then Bryson came and signed his hat, and like all the media were like, Rory, incredible move, giving him a ball, and then quote tweeting like, well, actually, Bryson signed his hat, and it was just they were competing in everything.
I wonder. I was curious if he asked Bryson to sign his hat, or if Bryson was just like,
I think he just signed
wheelchair,
it.
sign.
Bryson was signed.
See you later.
Like, credit to Bryson. It by all accounts, he was awesome to the fans. Stayed late, took all these pictures.
He
That's
was
cool.
walking around with the trophy. Said he wanted all the fans to touch the trophy.
I love that. You could say it's cheesy and that he's trying to get goodwill. I don't care. He's giving people a moment that they'll remember forever. And that's all that matters.
Touch the U.S. Open trophy.
It was an awesome weekend. And then we also had Patrick Cantley, who I gotta find. Is there any fan out there?
No, everybody was really. It was like I will tolerate either Rory or Bryson winning. I'll enjoy either one of those two. Patrick, just get the fuck out.
Xander Schauffele.
Yeah, Xander's a good friend of his. His wiggle on putts makes me want to punch a hole in my TV. He just stands there and wiggles 100 times.
And this is I have resting anger face, so I don't.
Oh, he's got bitch face. Yeah.
He's got resting anger face.
Yeah.
Like I see him and I'm like, that's what people think when they see me. Like he just always looks miserable.
And he's also kind of got a dumpy ass. He does.
Yeah,
his body's like kind of dumpy. I don't know. He could definitely tighten it up.
Like he looks like a really cheap pear.
Not to
at
get
a grocery
personal.
store. Yeah,
but he's dumpy. He's Humpty Dumpty.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was awesome. And shout out the course was incredible.
Oh yeah,
borderline, sometimes over the line.
It was borderline, and Rory hit that one shot on the back nine that it was an awesome shot, and then just rolled probably like 40 yards off the green.
Yeah,
and it was like, okay, the course isn't fucking around right now. I like to see that the course baked out a little bit. I've got a stat from Rory and his putting specifically. So this season he was 496 for 496 putting inside 3 feet. This season before he missed that one putt. And then he missed the other one, which I would assume he's probably a similar statistic from like 3.5, 4.5 feet.
I would have made it.
Yeah, I would have made it because in a situation like that, what you have to do,
both.
I would have made the first one.
Second one looked hard.
You don't, no, but you don't miss the second one unless you miss the first one.
Yeah.
Because then the first one's in your head, but I would have concentrated.
I also would have just asked if it's good. Maybe they would say, yeah.
That's gimme range.
Yeah, that's it right there. It was a great tournament, great fun. Bryson, I think we're trying to get him on the show. I mean, it is crazy. I found myself rooting for him. Yeah, but he's done all the right things. Where
if he has lingering beef with you guys, I would respect it.
Oh yeah, I would too. Yeah. But
that would honestly make me like him more.
But Brooks squashed the beef. We squashed the beef when Brooks squashed the beef, and then it took us a while to come around to actually liking him, which happened a few months ago. Are you trying to? We're a team.
Of course. I wanted to come on the show.
You just said if he had beef with you guys, I'd respect it.
Well,
hold on a second.
What do you mean by you guys?
You guys,
We
Like,
guys.
we are.
If
We are part of my
rewound the
tape.
no, I'm saying, but like there was the shows when all that stuff was happening. I don't think I was speaking on them.
At all. But
Why is
we're
that?
so you're saying right now that
would
you're
never-
always been a Bryson over a Brooks guy?
No, he can have beef with me. It's us. But I'm saying like
But that was very
I was
specific
not-
to you guys.
no, like I wasn't. You guys are the two co-hosts. I wasn't speaking.
No,
on
we're
those,
three co-hosts.
I wasn't speaking.
If listen,
I wasn't speaking on those shows. Like I'm sure he listened to those podcasts back in the day. It was probably like, damn, these guys are fucking roasting me. Fuck them. I don't think I was involved in those roastings, even though I felt the same way.
Why? We never do a show where you didn't talk, Hank.
so you're just basically
You
trying to
always talk.
slide out the back door. But
No.
it wasn't me.
No, I'm with it.
Do you stand behind everything we've said about Bryson as a podcast?
Yes.
You stand behind everything we've said as a podcast.
Yes.
Okay, we'll
Good.
find some things that you're not going to be happy about. I'm legitimately excited to watch Bryson. That was fun. He's turned it. He's done the impossible. The USA chance rocked. And then you had a couple of the loser golf media people, and like one of the guys who took the live money, and you're chanting USA.
Well, to be fair to Bryson, he did apologize for 9/11.
oh yeah, that's right. He
You remember
did.
that? So actually, Bryson's been on a real hot streak since he apologized for 9/11.
Yeah.
Maybe that's all it took.
Yeah, it was his. He took all the ownership.
That was an all-time hilarious clip.
Yeah. Sorry, and one last big loser we should just mention is, remember when Zach Johnson didn't put Bryson on the Ryder Cup team?
Yep.
That was fun.
I just watched Full Swing in the last 2 weeks, and that shit's infuriating.
Yeah, crazy.
Infuriating.
Okay, should we talk a little basketball?
I'm bummed out that we've only got one more major this
I
year.
know. The
It
Open-
feels like we should have two.
Yeah, I don't like that the PGA changed and jumped ahead.
I don't like it either.
It was always nice that they gave us one at the end.
Also, a finish like this, I think, needs to put some pressure and momentum on the merger happening, because the fact that we get to see these guys clash in drama like this only happening 4 times a year,
Oh, there's
that's so unfortunate.
There is.
yeah.
There's what is it?
There's an outline now.
Yeah.
They have an outline.
There's
So
an outline.
so before, like a year ago, almost to the date, a year ago they had the framework, and now, as per like a week ago, not only do they have the framework, but they've got an outline.
What's next?
Well, I think they said they're gonna
Rough
wait.
draft.
Yeah, rough draft.
Rough
They're
draft.
waiting till Tuesday to announce details because they don't want to take away from the tournament. So we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see how.
I
legit
loved
the outline is.
getting an outline done in school and just being like, yeah, I got an outline.
It's basically done. I think next is actually a verbal agreement on the outline,
Yeah.
then you move to rough draft.
then you move to
But
rough
seriously,
draft.
the fact that we get to see guys like this compete 4 times a year, like we need that year round.
Well, I mean, you get to see it all the time if you have the CW network.
No, but Rory versus Bryson, guys.
Yeah, but you
things
can
like that.
always be like, all right, well, Bryson shot
Bryson
this.
versus Harold Varner.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All this shit in a
What-
team
what-
format.
What team is Bryson on?
Bryson's on the Crushers.
Oh, okay.
Is that what's?
That's a great name.
Wait, what is Brooks' team?
Smash.
Smash.
Yeah,
Got it.
totally different team, different
Totally
name.
different. It's Crushers and the Smash.
So who else is on Bryson's team, Hank?
Bryson.
Yep.
No, I have no.
Oh,
idea.
oh, that was a guy. I thought that was a guy.
Yeah, I don't know anyone else. on
This
Crushers.
was such a bittersweet weekend for Greg Norman too,
Oh yeah.
because Greg is probably happy with the whole live thing. He still considers himself very much part of that. And then,
Well, he's getting booted though.
but then,
Yeah.
but maybe not. We don't know yet. He's
Find
still
out with the outline.
he's still swimming around. Yeah, the outline.
Outline might not address Greg Norman.
It might just be written by Greg Norman.
Yeah.
But Greg Norman probably partially happy because the live won, but also Greg Norman started a trend because Rory melted down.
Right.
And they're like, this is exactly like when Greg Norman didn't
Right.
win that
He
major.
gets brought up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we talk some basketball? Some hoop?
We're running out of time.
Oh, we are? Let's talk some hoop.
How much time do we have? Hank?
we don't have as much tape left.
So we haven't been together since, or we didn't. Last time we recorded was Thursday night. Celtics were up 3-0. The first 30 minutes were just for the Hank heads out there.
Rave reviews from that episode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
From your
people
parents?
were very upset. I didn't really understand. I'll defend you for a second, Hank. I didn't understand some of the criticism because you were literally at Tom Brady's retirement and he mentioned you. Imagine if we didn't talk about that on the show.
Yeah.
It'd be insane.
Mm-hmm.
That would be insane. But
it was a Hank Glazing.
It was a Hank Glazing,
Yeah.
which you deserved. It was your birthday, everything. Then Friday happened, and the Celtics are still up 3-1. I still think they're going to win this series, probably tonight. But holy fuck, did they get smoked?
Yeah.
Bad.
35 points in the first half was
Shocking. Were they down 50 at one point?
It got close.
They might have been down 50 at one point.
Yeah, it was like 90 to I think it was like 90 to 40 or something. I don't know if it was 50 exactly, but it was that was a real scoreboard at one point. They missed a bunch of layups. They missed every single shot. They gave themselves a cushion though.
Yeah.
Like that game's not going to matter when it's all said and done.
Unless they keep winning.
Right, but that's not going to happen either.
Okay,
Yeah,
so what are your nerves? So I saw Dave tweeted this. He said, I'm 0% nervous about the Celtics, but if they lose on Monday night, I will be very nervous. So the question then, so if you went by that, how nervous are you that they will lose tomorrow night?
I think they're going to win tonight. But they built a 3-0 cushion. Even if they lose Game 5, obviously then it will be real nerves. Losing some sleep, thinking about it a lot. But I still think they would win Game 6. And even if they lose Game 6, they have a home game. They have 2 home games to win a
It
championship.
sounds like you're nervous about being nervous.
Right.
Like you're not nervous yet.
You're pre-nervous.
But
I'm not nervous yet. If they lose Monday night, then I'd be nervous.
But you
So,
thought
but-
about
I'd be
how
a little.
nervous-
I'd be a little nervous.
okay.
I'm 0% nervous.
Right.
If they lose Monday night, I would not be like Dave said. He would be all the way nervous. I would get pretty nervous.
Okay, but
Not even up 3-2. It's like.
but here's my question then. How nervous are you that they're going to lose tomorrow night or tonight?
0.
0%. 0% chance the Mavs are going to win.
15%.
Okay, so then you're 15% nervous. Oh, you're 15% to the way to being pretty nervous.
Yeah.
Because then they lose game. If they lose Game 5, then what percent nervous are you? 50?
40.
I don't think you should be nervous,
I'm not.
but you are. You're 15% nervous.
Well, every game, you get nervous for every single game. You can't take these things lightly. You got to go out there and execute. So it's like you can't.
No, don't bring Humble Hank back.
You got no, but you got to be. You got
They
to
did get
give
their ass
respect
kicked.
to your opponent.
It was
Really
It was
bad.
a whomping. They got absolutely destroyed.
They were never down 50. They were down 40 plus.
And the fact that it was that bad would make me a little bit nervous.
I'm looking.
The real
right
hoop
now.
heads
It
out
was
there.
an aberration.
They were playing. I actually said it in the moment. It was kind of cool that a bunch of guys that were never going to play in the NBA Finals got a decent amount of minutes and can be like, yeah, I scored a bucket in the NBA Finals.
Be great Joel Embiid stats. when
Who are
it's all
some of
said and
those
done.
guys out there? You had the one guy who looked like Jaylen Brown.
O'Shea Brissett?
No, is that
Syracuse.
number 12? I don't know. He looked like
Tillman?
Jaylen Brown. You had a
Yeah, he's number 12.
yeah, number 12.
Shout
He
out
kind of
O'Shea.
moves like Jaylen. He's like he's basically like a body double. Then you had did you have a small Charlie Villanueva out there?
Yep.
Like what was
Jordan
going
Walsh
on?
from Arkansas.
Yeah, it was crazy. Oh, I remember
Yeah.
him. He was
Yeah,
good.
He was our,
good
he
on
was our
Arkansas.
first round pick.
I liked him. Yeah, and the Mavs had just it was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I was at a bar where they were playing. They did the music in between during commercials, and then game sound when the game was on. Third quarter, they just stopped playing the game sound. Like it was just all
Yeah.
music. It was over. I bet him. I was like 18.5. Pritchard and the bench are gonna fight back and make this thing like respectable, and it just went the complete opposite.
The fact that it was that bad, do you think that there's any part of anybody on the Celtics roster that was like, I really want to close this out at home?
No, but I think when it's that bad, it's easy to just forget about it.
Yeah, no,
It's easier to just completely forget about and move on than if it was a close loss that maybe they were winning and should have won, but then they blew it, and that would creep in more, I think, than just getting your doors blown off.
because it was a combo. The Celtics played bad. The Mavs played great. Like
And
they were hitting everything.
and they were playing defense.
Right. They were playing defense, and all their role players were hitting shots. Okay, so you're 15% nervous about tonight. What about Kristaps? Because that would be the only thing that would make me nervous. Because they kind of are saying that he could play. I feel like if he plays, it's going to be Kevin Durant in the finals kind of thing. Like he's just going to get hurt.
Yeah, I kind of read the Game 4 questionable, and I feel like he's probably not going to play Game 5. That seemed like a situation where they were going to he's questionable to play, and they were going to put him in like if they were up and they were going to win a championship.
To like get him on the court.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to contribute anything meaningful if he does get on the court.
No, I don't think so.
Everything I've read, it seems like if he gets on a court and tries to run up and down, he's just going to get hurt again.
Yeah, and Tillman was saying in practice like he is not 100%, which is probably not the smartest thing for a player to say about his own teammate, but he was like he looks rough.
Let me ask you this. Now, he was also questionable before Game 3, and then they ruled him out, right? So if the games had been flip-flopped, if Game 3 was a massive blowout, and then Game 4 was like Game 3, would you be nervous?
More nervous
than it is. Because right now it feels like gentleman's sweep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean 3-0. When you have a 3-0 cushion, though, I mean, there's no way. There's just no way. They have 2 home games.
Worst case
scenario.
But
Worst case scenario. They have
I agree
3-0.
with you. No way. But it's
here's how time
crazy
works, though,
to say
Hank.
no way.
Here's how time works. It's not a 3-0 lead. You have a 3-1 lead.
Yeah. And it could be 3-2 in 24 hours.
Yeah, and then it would forget about 3-0. It was almost never 3-0.
Yeah. Then you just start the series at 3-2.
I don't know what their record is when you combine the playoffs, but they've lost 12 games.
Mm-hmm.
They're not if they go 1-4,
Agreed.
that would be insane. 0-4.
Are you upset at all?
That
they got bounced out of the 80 wins, 20 loss club.
Yeah.
What do you think about Joel Embiid finally being in attendance for a Celtics loss there in the finals?
He did great. He was fantastic on the analyst desk.
I wish Max was here.
He was really, really good. It was good to see him out there. Had some really, really funny points and interesting analysis.
And he
was tampering.
And the good news is he has time. Like this is something he could do every finals.
Yeah. I'm happy for him.
I have something positive for you, Hank. I know they have nothing to do with each other, but
Dates?
What?
June 17th is like a historical date for the Celtics.
Oh, okay.
I thought that's what you were going to say.
Did you want to go? Go ahead.
No.
No, go ahead.
No.
No, I want to know. You said historical.
I had to look. There's I forget what it is.
Okay. All right. You look it up, and I'll tell you what I.
Well, and 617 is Boston area code.
Okay, so what I was going to say is they have nothing to do.
That
with...
rocks.
Yeah,
that rocks.
Did they win on other 617 days?
I think so. I think that's when they beat the Lakers.
They played the Lakers a few times.
Well, they
in the history
beat them. Okay, I'll look it up.
That's like the most common NBA Finals matchup.
When
Celtics.
When Hank told me his reason was 617 is the Boston area code, my first thought was like, you fucking piece of shit. Like that's the most masshole thing I've ever heard.
That's gonna happen.
But then I was like, no, that.
Yeah,
I can absolutely. I can see a guy with his shirt off with a big 617 tattoo across his chest, maybe on his neck, maybe fresh out of jail for robbing a bank. He's like the fucking Celtics dude.
It's gonna happen.
617 kid.
So what is it?
I'm over 781 guy, but Sean Grand. This was from him. 617 was the date the Celtics won their last championship in 2008. Lakers.
Got it.
3 of the icons we've lost in the years since: Bill Russell, number 6. John Havlicek, 17. Sam Jones, 24. Game 5 will be played in Boston.
What about Bill Walton?
On 6/17/24.
What was Bill Walton's number?
Left out.
What was Bill Walton's number for the Celtics?
8.
Was he 8?
I think.
Bill Walton.
Which is Porzingis'
Celtics.
number.
Okay, I'm trying to do the numerology.
He was number 5. Game 5.
Five.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit, Hank.
Let's go.
It's over. 0% chance. What I was going to say was, Hank, another positive thing for you. They have nothing to do with each other, but in my dumb brain, they have everything to do with each other. The fact that the Panthers then lost 8-1 in the exact same setup made me feel like both teams are just going to listen, I'm not a gambling expert, but Panthers Celtics moneyline parlay, Game 5. Feels like it could potentially happen.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. It does stink of like the league needing more games.
But even those games were such blowouts that you can't blame refs, and it was more like these teams are up 3-0, and they know they can go home, and they know they're better, and the minute the game, like the Mavs jumped on the Celtics, the Oilers jumped on the Panthers. 10 minutes in, and you're like, I don't really want it. Let's just go home.
Yeah.
Let's go home and win this at home. I know that's not how it works, but
At some
that
point,
does how it works.
No,
It's human nature.
At some point, it does work like that.
Yeah,
Like in the third quarter, you tell me that Joe Mazzulla was like, "No, let's try to win this game."
Yeah.
No, he was like, "Fuck it, let's just take it home."
Panthers the same way. I also have the greatest gambling system ever. I turned on the game. Shania Twain was doing a free concert outside, and I bet the Oilers because I said anytime Shania Twain does a free concert, bet the home team. It's 1-0 lifetime.
Okay. Anything special about Shania?
I love her.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah, she's the best.
She is really good.
Don't impress me much.
Any man of mine.
Yeah. No.
Didn't she forget how to sing because she got dumped?
No. I don't know.
I think she did. I think that it like
Hey.
took her voice away. Heartbreak took her voice away.
I feel like a woman. Bow, 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 no, no. Yeah, Shania.
Can I confess something? Because I feel like I need to be transparent when talking to our listeners about any sport that we've watched on TV. I watched about maybe 15 seconds of the game on Friday, not because I wanted to skip it.
Okay.
And I did watch a bunch
Very
of
nice.
highlights.
Very good of you.
Hand up. I had planned on being home to watch the game. Very important game 4. I got my car back from the shop, and guess what? She starts.
Oh,
so I felt like
cruising.
I felt like no. I was running some errands.
Do the
before
lights
game.
work?
Yeah, lights work now. The turn signal just goes. It works, but the lever just shifts back and forth. So I always have one signal on. You can never tell which one it's going to be. But so I was trying to get home for the game. I take my car on some errands. So I've got to go to Home Depot, get some stuff, whatever. I try to start it leaving Home Depot, and it didn't start again. So then my car was busted, and now I'm like, what the fuck do I do? And then I fixed it myself. I got gas at a gas station, a red can, and I brought it back. It was out of gas.
Nice.
So I feel like I am becoming a car guy. But in that time where I had to bike to the gas station, buy the gas tank, bike back, fill the car up, then drive to a real gas station to get the tank all the way filled. By the time I got back, it was past halftime, and I just couldn't watch the full game. So hand up. I will admit that.
Yeah.
But I did see the highlights, and I looked at the box score.
Yeah.
Heavily.
It wasn't, you didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
It was that much of a blowout. And it was, like, you could just tell.
It was a summer league game for the fourth quarter.
Yeah. No, it was. They I have never seen that where it wasn't even, it was at the end of the third quarter.
Yeah.
They were pulling everyone. And who do we have MVP right now?
Probably Jalen Brown.
Yeah. Okay.
I did see that Luka has.
It's still if Tatum goes off, he could still win it.
I saw that Luka does have the highest plus minus of any player in the series. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Well, he's been really good. And then, I mean, game 3, he was bad and he got bad fouls, but he's scoring. I mean, every first half, he's like almost 20 points.
Yeah.
And he played defense on Friday. He did. He moved his feet.
Yeah.
I think Windy woke
And he
a
did
monster.
a couple hand ups. Like
Windy woke a monster in that respect. You also should not feel nervous because Kyrie has to play in front of the Boston crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And he has not done well doing that. Do we want to do Who's Back of the Week?
Yeah.
Or anything else?
There might be one other thing we should do.
Oh. What?
Maybe a special guest.
Oh, you're talking about Max? We're going to do it after.
We're going to do
'cause
Max
We have
later.
more stuff to talk about.
Okay.
And then he'll do his
more
Max
stuff for him
minute.
to listen to.
Yeah. Like I was going to bring up the fact that I'm not going to do this for Who's Back of the Week, but Who's Back of the Week could have been the Baltimore Orioles because the Philadelphia Phillies finally played a real team and the Orioles kicked the shit out of them.
Yeah.
But Max is actually listening. He couldn't get his flight back because he's like Rory. He just took his ball and went home. But we told him take notes, and after the interviews, we'll have him do Max's Minute where he can correct anything that we say that's wrong. But I saw a report saying that he was crying after Thursday's show.
Max was crying.
He was crying.
He was crying during Thursday's show.
He was crying during Thursday's show, and so we'll get any corrections to that. Because
Listen,
the Orioles kicked the shit out of the Phillies.
They beat the shit out of him.
They
It was
fucked
bad.
him up.
They got throttled.
They throttled them.
And also apparently the Philadelphia Water Dogs didn't have a good showing this weekend either.
Our team sucks.
I think we should fire Max.
I watched both. We lost in overtime in both games.
Not from the podcast, from whatever role he has with Water Dogs.
Yeah, he's He's a big-time loser.
Max has been fired from the Philadelphia Water Dogs.
Saturday's game, we scored with like a second left, and it was so thrilling. And then I went to take a piss, and overtime started, and we had already lost. I came back, and they were celebrating. It's like, how did this happen? They showed the replay. They just got the fucking face off and went. I didn't know you were allowed to do that.
I'll tell you how it happened. Max.
Yeah. We suck. Okay, before we do Who's Back, game time. Game time. Did you know you can get tickets to the Cubs game? Pug went on Friday.
Holly Pug.
What?
Holly Pug.
Holly Pug. Game
That's
time
good.
did hook him up. Also, Pug screwed me because I've had many people reach out about my tickets, and I've told them all, guess what? Just go to Game Time because Game Time has great tickets. And you can do it right now. That's right. With Game Time, the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports, you shouldn't have to worry when you buy tickets to your next big event. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets to all of the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. They have flash deals for sudden discounts, zone deals for when you're feeling flexible, and their lowest price guarantee means that if you can find the same seats for less anywhere else, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Game Time is the best place for last-minute seats up to 60% off your favorite events. What are you waiting for? Pug is going to go to more Cubs games.
Big Cat, I actually meant to ask you, this Friday,
Yeah,
can I have your tickets?
sure.
I need 9 of them.
Okay,
Do
I
you have
got
9
you.
Do you have 9 tickets?
Well, no, I'll give you my 2.
And then I'll buy
Go on
7
Game Time,
right next
sell
to
them on
them.
Game Time, and then buy 9 more.
Okay.
Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code PMT for $20 off your first purchase. What you should do is just go to Game Time and buy bleacher seats.
I'll do that.
General admission.
I'll do that.
And take your top off.
And get there early, tarps off?
The fucking best.
Okay.
Terms apply. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, the lowest price guaranteed. We also are brought to you by our friends at Coors Light. The perfect summer playlist may be elusive, but one thing is for sure, it gets better when it's enjoyed with a cold Coors Light because music plus Coors Light equals chill, amplified. Coors Light is the only choice when you're ready to choose chill. When you embrace a chill mindset, it's a good time to choose chill and crack open a Coors Light. We love Coors Light. I was drinking them in Florida when I was there this past week, sitting by the pool. Amplify your chill this summer with Coors Light. Choose chill. Choose Coors Light. We did a bonfire one night on the beach. That was awesome, and it was perfect for Coors Light. So go to CoorsLight.com/summermusic to see how Coors Light can amplify your summer, and be sure to keep an eye out on Coors Light social handles all summer long for more exciting announcements. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Coors Light is the beer of the summer. It's the coldest beer out there, and it's our favorite, Coors Light. Hank, but yes, do go.
I'm going to do bleachers. I wasn't planning on wearing a
You
shirt
gotta get hot
anyways.
dogs. It's the best. The best.
What if I catch a home run? I throw it back.
Well, you got to get there early if you want to get a good spot because there's guys that get there the minute they open.
I'm going to go
They
Hample
get
mode.
their seats. But yeah, you go Hample mode on their
Hample mode,
ass.
big time.
All right, Hank.
Who's back of the week is Bill Belichick.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, Bill. Wow, Bill.
Wild Bill. Summer of Bill. TMZ came out with a report that confirmed what I think a lot of people already kind of knew or were speculating about.
Did you know?
Yeah,
I know.
Why didn't
Yeah.
you tell us?
I did.
Why didn't you tell us on the show? Why didn't you tell the listeners? We could have had that.
I'm not going to
breaking-
talk about the coach's personal business. I don't know if it was.
I found out when
100%
Hank
fact.
found out, and
Yeah.
I was expecting Hank to bring it up at some point.
Wow. So
Yeah, you
you've
knew.
kept it.
PFT knew too.
That's not my business to
You've
put out.
kept
It's not my business.
He's not
Yeah,
my
it is.
No, it's
You've
not.
kept it from the listeners. That's
I hear she's a lovely lady.
well. I actually read some stuff about her. Can I share? Or do you have it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I
So
didn't read anything.
from the
I just
TMZ article.
looked at Instagram.
Oh, you went through Instagram. Do you follow her?
I do now.
Okay. Good. According to one of Hudson's, what's her name? Jordan Hudson?
Jordan Hudson.
According to one of Hudson's former cheerleading teammates, Hudson first met the 72-year-old on a flight from Boston area bound for Florida way back in 2021 and bonded over a philosophy project the student athlete had been working on. We're told they swapped contact information after landing and stayed friendly through the ensuing months, discussing her schoolwork and the X's and O's of her cheerleading routines. They bonded over her homework.
Philosophy homework, yeah.
Her homework. Bill helped her with her homework.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen,
Yeah. Right.
how old is she?
He loves studying film. He loves being
She
prepared.
was-
That's like his entire
What?
MO.
I'm not judging. I'm just saying it's beautiful that they bonded over her homework.
I think Plato was the original guy that said, "Do your job."
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
What is the film room if not but a cave?
There it is.
That's all you know is the dancing flickers of light in front of you, showing your tight end laying a block on a weak side linebacker.
That becomes your reality.
Yes.
You have no idea about the outside world. It goes on to say, Belichick was spotted rooting her on at a cheerleading competition in March.
Mm-hmm. I did
homework and cheerleading competition.
I did hear Bill might have maybe missed a couple team events to go to a cheerleading practice.
But he didn't miss his girlfriend's cheerleading practice.
It's very important, yeah.
Okay. And then finally, we're told Hudson, an entrepreneur and philosopher.
That's good. That's a good combo.
Has even begun helping Belichick with his business endeavors.
That's good.
It's beautiful. I know.
Yeah.
I'm just reading from the article. I'm not editorializing any of this. I'm just reading the words from the article.
Probably start doing a podcast or something.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, that sounds
This will
good.
be great.
That sounds
He
really
met
good.
an entrepreneur philosopher, and they bonded over homework in her cheerleading practice.
Entrepreneur, philosopher, and cheerleader.
Cheerleader.
All rolled into one. Sounds
Cheerleader.
like quite a catch for Bill.
Total
That's triple threat.
Total package.
Triple threat.
And how old is he?
72. But age is just a
He
number.
was 71.
No, it says 72 right here.
It's probably not like even a physical thing. They probably were just attracted to each other's minds at first. Well, she probably thought he was hot.
Homework.
Yeah.
Anytime you can bond over homework.
Do you think she got good grades on that homework?
Do you
You've
think
never
they're
asked.
both
You never
steady?
asked someone for help at on a flight.
On homework?
No.
Yeah, just whatever they're working on.
I've
No.
never asked anybody for help on a flight.
No.
I'm always in control on a flight. Usually I'm in the exit row, and I have not had a single fatality under my watch.
Do you think she was like pounding and she's like, what's wrong? I just can't figure out my homework.
What is life? Let me take a look at that.
But listen, Belichick just live his life. I'm not judging at all. It's just you can't tell me those sentences weren't at least a little funny.
Oh no, it's very funny.
They bonded over homework and cheerleading.
I imagine him like looking over at her, or at her book, not even at her. He doesn't even realize who she is. He just looks over. He's like, "What is that, Nietzsche?" And then they lock eyes, and then they're like, "Oh my God, love at first sight."
Do you think they have a big calendar in their kitchen? It says oh, Jordan's cheerleading practice today.
I don't know if they're
Pick me
living.
up.
Does he drop her off?
Homework. She got school project coming up.
What's her name?
Jordan
Hudson.
Jordan with an O at the end though, 2 O's.
Oh, that's
Hank
red
follows
flag.
her.
That's red flag.
Hank follows her.
Any name that has a weird misspelling like that or ends in an I.
Do you
big
need
red
me to
flag.
pick you up from school today?
Jordan Hudson. Let's see. What kind of entrepreneur is she?
Philosopher entrepreneur.
Okay.
It actually says right now,
aren't-
philosopher entrepreneur, glamorous Girl Scout.
Aren't all entrepreneurs just the same? Isn't that just a blanket statement?
What?
Entrepreneur.
What do you mean is it blanket statement?
Like it doesn't need to be a type of entrepreneur.
Now you're getting philosophical.
Yeah, now you're getting real.
Bill would love this conversation.
Like anyone that
If you
does anything is an entrepreneur.
No, if you start a business, you're an entrepreneur. I want to know what her business is.
Right.
I think she
She
might be,
just have the entrepreneurial spirit.
Mm-hmm.
That could very much be what happened here.
Oh, it was on a let's see, more recently Bill was seen in March at one of her competitions and is reported to have accompanied her on a business trip to Croatia. So she's doing business deals in Croatia right
Yeah, that's legit. Yeah, I'm happy for Bill. He seems like he's very happy. Does he not?
Very happy.
Yeah, so we should be supportive.
She was almost Miss Maine.
Oh.
That's pretty good. That's not a bad state.
And she's a
But she
she's
wasn't.
a birder.
But almost. She competed in Miss Maine. Miss Maine participant.
Okay, so what? A finalist for Miss Maine?
She was a competitor in Miss Maine.
Okay.
She was the co-main event.
Co-main event, yeah. What were you going to say, Hank?
I think she looks like an outstanding young woman.
Yeah.
Me too. She's a birder too.
A birder?
Oh, she birds?
What is that?
You don't know bird? You don't know wing?
She just looks at birds?
Yeah.
Listens to birds.
Oh.
No, it's more about
Hank doesn't know what it is either.
No, yes it is.
it's called bird watching, not bird listening.
No, but you listen. I had a science
But
teacher
that's
in
not
high
the main
school,
event. The main event is watching.
and he would just take us out.
Saying main event.
He would just take us out in the woods. Be like, all right, ready? This is what you're gonna hear. And then be boo 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 boo.
Yeah.
He was
What
just a,
was
he was-
that? What was that?
He was a bird fanatic.
What was that bird?
I wish I was more into birds and could tell you. But
All right, you know what? let's get a birder on the show for the summer. That's a perfect summer guest.
You know what though?
I want a birder in studio. I want to interview a birder, and then we'll have PMTV. We'll go listen to some birds.
Go Birds.
Yeah, go birds.
So Hank, you just said that your bird
Max would love this segment.
your bird teacher was
My science teacher was a bird.
but he was a birder, but he was saying that this is the sound and that's how you identify them by the sound. But the only reason you're figuring out what sound it is so that you can look at that bird. It's
Right,
like, oh,
but
that's a
it's-
whippoorwill. I've never seen a whippoorwill. Where is it? It's about watching the birds. It's not about listening.
Well, we'll
I
find
think
out.
It's a combination.
We'll find out.
I think it's a
Do you,
Talk
combination.
to an expert.
do you check it off? Do you check it off your little bird list if you're in the woods and you hear a goldfinch?
It has
You're like,
to-
yep, just heard that one. No, you gotta look at the.
But it has to be at least somewhat about hearing it.
I almost saw a goldfinch.
No,
You
we'll,
hear them.
we'll find
you hear
out.
them interact.
Yeah,
and
we'll find out. You want to hear him
communicate and stuff.
talk? We'll find out. Hey, none of us are experts. You're kind of sounding like
Yeah, you're
you think
being a
an
little
expert.
judgmental.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not being. I'm
You're
not being judgmental
You're trying
about
to sound
birds.
like you're an expert. We'll talk to an expert.
Okay,
It
yeah.
has to be at least a little bit of sound.
Oh yeah, you use the sound, but the point of using the sound is
He's an expert.
I'm an expert. Wait, is she a birder?
Yeah,
I guess
it's
so.
literally in her Instagram
Okay.
bio.
All right, that's good.
Okay, all right. PFT.
She sounds very nice.
Very nice. I'm happy for Coach
Yep.
and his philosopher girlfriend.
Me too.
Good luck on all homework.
My who's back of the week is Caitlin Clark Angel Reese arguments.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I don't think that we should do a full discussion on this because it sucks.
And also, it was
There's
just a
nothing to-
regular
yeah.
foul.
It sucks. It was a flagrant one.
Yeah, but she
Yeah.
went for the ball and hit her head. I know, like, whatever.
If you want to hear what Caitlin Clark has to say about it, she said it was just a normal hard foul.
You could see where she tries to hit the ball, misses the ball, and then hits her with her elbow on her head. That play happens all the time in basketball.
Yeah. So get ready.
Exhausting.
You know what? We haven't even gotten to the Monday takes because there's a lot of people out there that are
Over it.
They're writing their columns.
So over it.
Writing their columns right now about this and what Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese means to America.
And then there was the
It
other
stinks.
side being like Caitlin Clark has a responsibility to stand up and speak out against people who are speaking on her back. Everyone just shut the fuck up.
Did you see the article that?
I'm happy she didn't make the Olympic team at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we get a
It would
break.
suck.
Now we get a break. I want a break.
It's like the WNBA loses like $20 million a year.
I think it's more now, too. 'Cause
They had
the,
to. Yeah, they
the
reported.
private planes.
Yeah.
They came out with the report, and it's like gotten worse year over year.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah. I need a
Sucks.
break. I need a timeout. I'm asking for a timeout.
My other who's back of the week, Plug God, the dozen.
Oh,
The
yeah.
dozen tournaments this week. So I'm competing in the dozen on the experts. Big Cat's competing on the yak. Hank, you're still competing? You're
Yeah.
still on that team with
Repeat
Minute?
champ,
Okay. I didn't know that you were still on the team.
He's actually the second highest scorer on the team.
the defending champion team. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And he's
Okay.
How many
second
championships
highest scorer.
has your team won?
We were in the finals the last 2 years.
Ooh,
How about that?
nice.
This feels like the year. This feels like keep talking, Hank. I hope they ask a question about birds and you don't know it.
Jake's on a team.
Jake's on a team.
Gen XYZ, we play tonight.
Who do you play, Jake?
7:40 Eastern time. We play the Booze Ponies.
Okay, the real mental giants
Yeah.
on the Booze Ponies.
Winner plays Big Cat in the Yak.
Yeah.
Okay, and who do you play, Big Cat?
The winner.
Okay,
winner
so
of-
you have a bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were the second ranked team.
Okay,
We're playing macrodosing.
You have a bye?
Yeah.
Wow, you were one of the top 4 teams.
Yeah.
Fuck yes.
that's really you guys had one of the top 4 records this year.
We have a bye. We're in the top 14.
So that must mean surely that you had
Defending
one of
champs.
the top 4 records.
Yeah.
You did have one of the top 4 records,
they had
or did
bye.
you just get the league to write you guys in?
Well, I don't know how the divisions work in conference.
That's true.
realignment,
Conference
Like
play does get
tiebreakers and
confusing.
things like that.
Yeah, it gets confusing.
But yeah, the winner of macrodosing versus the experts plays against Hank and the Hankats.
Nice.
So I'm really looking forward to that.
Team Minahan. Hank is the second leading scorer.
Mm-hmm.
He's been Kirk holds up Hank. Hank holds up Rico.
Hank
kinda how it goes.
Hank is a trivia god.
Yeah.
Pretty much captained the team to a
Vibes.
bye.
Yeah.
I've been to a yeah.
What
I'm
did you
excited.
say? You've been to a championship?
I went to the championship my first year.
What?
Yeah, me,
Yeah, it
Oh,
was
Dante
Reeves,
and
right?
Reeves.
Dante
yeah.
and Reeves.
Yeah, that's right. You have. You've
That was
been to a
why
championship.
Hank just kept showing up. He's like, I can't believe I'm still here.
All right, I have 2 who's backs. The first is British people complaining about normal temperatures. So I don't know if you saw, but in England, maybe it was over the weekend or the next couple days, they're going to reach a high of 26 degrees Celsius, and it's going to stay that hot for 48 hours. 26 degrees Celsius is, Hank, guess.
96.
78.
Come on.
And so I was like, this can't be real.
I was going to say 20. That seems low, but if they're complaining already, it's got to be.
Apparently, all of England doesn't have air conditioning. I didn't realize that. That's the big complaint, that they just don't have air conditioning.
Yeah.
Which, go on fucking Amazon and buy an air conditioning unit. 1. 2, 78 degrees is almost, that's like maybe 4 degrees hotter than my perfect weather.
Yeah, 78 degrees is wonderful degrees outside.
It's perfect degrees.
It is almost perfect. It does stink, though, if you get above like 75 inside your own apartment. That's bad.
Of course, just go outside where it's beautiful out.
It does feel, for some reason, 78 degrees outside feels awesome. 78 degrees inside feels like you're in hell.
Correct.
What's the difference?
But just, because there's probably a breeze.
Breeze, you get the breeze. Yeah.
So just open your window.
Yeah, you can open the window.
You can open your window.
Let the breeze in.
I mean, this is 78 degrees. You can't. And maybe we have some British AWLs. You can explain to me that. I also saw some people saying, well, all of our houses are old and we don't have AC. And,
get a new house.
Yeah, I don't know. Fucking move to America.
Yeah, how old are we talking about here?
I don't know, dude. You know what? Go into a pool.
They don't have pools in England.
Yeah, they probably don't.
They definitely don't.
They definitely don't have pools. They have fountains. They have a lot of fountains.
That you can go look at.
Yeah, right.
But you don't have a pool that you take your shirt off and your pasty white body gets just fried to a crisp.
78 degrees is crazy. And then my other who's back is Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter, who it was reported the other day that Jimmy Carter is no longer awake every day, grandson says.
Okay.
Isn't that just dead?
So he's back? No, he's not awake every day, but he's not awake.
The days that he's just not awake, is he dead?
I'll put it this way. Every time Nick Castellanos hits a home run, I am terrified that Jimmy Carter news is about to happen.
I'm not. There's no terrified left. He's not awake every day. The guy, just let him die.
He's been in hospice for like a year and a half.
I actually would be pissed if I was his wife.
That, like, you die and then it's like, did you not even love me?
You're supposed to die right away after your longtime wife dies. She died like 16 months ago, and he's just been not awake every day since.
Yeah, Big T made a great point. He said that Jimmy Carter started to come back to life once he stopped building houses when he was like 98 years old.
Yeah.
It's like once you take a break, then it's like, oh yeah, maybe I'm not about to die. Maybe I was just working out in the sun, putting roofs on apartments all day.
Yeah, dude. There are pictures of him. He actually could probably run for president with the way everything's been going. Right now.
The picture of
not awake every day, no problem.
Him, his wife, and the Bidens together is one of the all-time pictures.
This one picture of him in a wheelchair, he's not awake in that. Come on, we got to let Jimmy go. This is cruel.
Jimmy Carter.
Here's an idea, grandson. Don't wake him up. Next time he's not awake for a day, don't wake him up the next day.
Let him go.
Yeah, don't be like, hey, Pop, wake up. No. Just let him sleep forever. That's what it's called.
Jimmy Carter.
Turn on the nap.
Jimmy Carter was president.
Yeah.
Much, 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 much better person.
Yeah.
Outstanding person.
Sure.
Way better person.
I don't know, but just having a report being like, dude's not awake every day.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking crazy.
He's like the guy from Inception. Like when they just go and sleep all day in the little den.
Are you thinking of The Matrix?
No, I'm thinking Inception.
I think he's thinking of The Matrix.
The den.
Plug him in.
You're
thinking of The Matrix.
He's an Avatar?
Are you thinking Avatar or The Matrix?
No, Avatar was what they called you in The Matrix.
Right. So which one are you thinking of?
I've never seen The Matrix.
What?
Yo.
I can't judge.
Hank.
Everyone has one. I've said
I
this
know
times.
what happens. Red pill, blue pill.
Hey, well, no, you don't. You don't. Because you'd eat the bugs.
I have a general understanding of what happens, but yeah, I've never seen it.
I heard a nasty rumor that Big Cat eats bugs.
I will never eat the bugs.
I heard there were people saying
never eat the
online.
bugs.
There were people saying online that you're
They'll call me Bug Cat.
Bug Cat, yeah, Barstool Bug.
I'll
Cat.
never eat the bugs.
We also forgot to
you
shout out.
said last week you'd eat the bugs.
I know. I never said. I said I drink the bugs in the cicada malort shot.
That's what they want you to do. First step. Jake.
My who's back is retiring on live television because that is what Charles Barkley announced late Friday night.
Yeah.
There was a lot of speculation about the future of NBA on TNT inside the NBA. We have one more year, and after that, It's over. He is going to be off of television no matter what happens.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
He's too good.
That's just what you say at the end of a year.
He's just doing. He's said a million different things. He's like, well, maybe I'll just hire everyone and we'll have a new. We'll bring it over here. Maybe I'll retire. Maybe we'll. He's just. I love Charles Barkley. I love Charles Barkley. I don't buy it.
Charles Barkley could talk about anything on TV, and I would watch.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it could be. He could do a recap show for Summer House.
I don't buy it.
He could do baseball.
And he doesn't prep.
He watches.
I don't buy it.
There's no way he preps, right?
No, that's what I'm saying.
No.
But that's what makes him so electric.
Right.
He
No,
can
but
say
he
anything.
watches.
I think he watches, and he probably writes down on a piece of paper terrible.
Yeah. What did he do? Did he do it when he went? Did he do it when he did the hockey game?
No, he was on the NBA TV postgame show in Dallas on Friday night.
I don't buy it.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the difference between the hockey desk that ESPN has for the hockey desk for the Stanley Cup Finals and then the NBA desk?
No.
The NBA Finals? It's fucking hilarious. Look at this. Look at these two desks.
Oh, yeah. Well, we can't see the front of the desk in the hockey. We just see the top. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
It's so good.
it's a bad desk.
It's so good. The difference is very, very stark.
Mhm. They got the trophy there.
Yeah. Shout out Pete Blackbird for finding that. Noticing that. Unbelievable. I don't even think they brought that desk. That's an Edmonton desk.
Yeah, that was there. That's built into the stadium.
Yeah. The boys were whooping it up. Biz manhandled the guy at the game. I don't know if you saw that.
I did see that, yeah.
Holy shit.
He looked like he was full of energy.
Yeah. But yeah, Jake, I don't buy it. I just don't.
All right, we'll see.
I mean, I saw it.
I would love for it to continue.
And I just think Charles is just kind of saying whatever right now.
I think that he, in the moment, he's like, yeah, I'm rich. I don't want to work my whole life. I'll just be done in a year. And then he'll go off the air for maybe a little bit, and then he'll get offered a giant contract to talk about anything. And he'll be like, yeah, you know what? It's kind of fun just talking on camera.
Also, just play this out for a second, right? NBC got NBA, is that right?
I think that's what the rumor
Okay,
is.
so NBC's got NBA. Charles Barkley's out of a job. NBC wants Charles Barkley to do Inside the NBA on NBC. Who is Charles Barkley bidding? Who are they bidding against? No one. Well, now they're bidding against Charles Barkley retirement.
Yeah.
That's it. Charles Barkley can't, if NBC has all the rights to the NBA and that's where the show is going to be, they'll be like, hey, Charles, we're going to pay you $10 million a year. He can be like, no. They know that he has to either do that or not. But now he's like, oh, I'm going to retire. Now you have to bid against me just not working anymore.
I would love to see them do a little cross-pollination with their football desk and have it be Tony Dungy and Charles Barkley at the same time on a desk. Charles trying to talk to Tony about big women in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Is watching Tony Dungy just cry in shame.
Yeah, that would be good. They'd be a great buddy cop.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get some interviews. We got Smylie Kaufman. We got Mike Florio. And then we're going to finish with Max's Minute and a quick Monday reading.
Before we get to Smylie, is brought to you by our great friends over at Simply Safe. Love Simply Safe. Simply Safe is a longtime partner of Part of My Take, and they are great if you're looking for home security. You got to go to Simply Safe. Trust Simply Safe. It's advanced home security that puts you first. They offer advanced home security and 24/7 monitoring that is accessible to all with low upfront costs and monitoring plans for less than $1 a day. With 24/7 live guard protection, Simply Safe's agents can act on alarm within 5 seconds of receiving the alarm signal, deterring intruders, dispatching police, because in a crisis, every moment counts. I love the videos where there's an intruder in the home, and then the Simply Safe person gets on the speaker and startles them, and then the guy runs out. That's what you get with Simply Safe. They watch your place 24/7, live guard protection. Monitoring agents can stop a crime in real time. Try Simply Safe risk-free with a 60-day satisfaction guarantee or your money back. And when you purchase, you can choose how you install your system. It's easy to do yourself, or you can have a pro do it for you with professional installation. By partnering with Simply Safe, we've finally gotten real peace of mind that we want you to have too. Get an exclusive 20% off any new Simply Safe system when you sign up for Fast Protect monitoring. Just visit simplysafe.com/PMT. That's SIMPLISAFE.com/PMT. There's no safe like Simply Safe. And now here's Smylie Kaufman.
Okay, we now welcome on a very special guest. He was there at Pinehurst #2 for the U.S. Open on the call on the NBC coverage. It is Smylie Kaufman. He also has a podcast. You can go check it out right now. It's called The Smylie Show for more golf takes. Smylie, first of all, thank you for joining us. You're driving right now from Pinehurst to Charlotte, so we appreciate you joining us.
Yes. What's up, boys? Thank you for having me on. And that was some epic TV, I must say. It was pretty fun, and to be a part of something like that. I guess I kind of now know what it feels like to be a Chicago Bears fan. I kind of felt like the double doink out there for Rory. Did it not? Like,
yeah,
it was just a tough scene, man. It was just hard to watch, but epic theater for golf, man.
Yes, yeah.
Are you okay? Were you in the parking lot when Rory peeled out and mowed down several spectators? It looked like it was a violent, gruesome scene there after the tournament was over.
Yeah, it looked like Shooter McGavin leaving after he lost the Tour Championship to Happy Gilmore. Yeah, it sucks, man. Like, the guy was right there. He hadn't won in 10 years at a major. It was just right there for the taking. And, God, it's just so hard to win majors. But I feel like that was the most agonizing way for him to ever lose one again, because he hasn't necessarily been super close besides the St. Andrews Open Championship where he had 18 two-putts in one round. So it's I just feel for Rory, but man, Bryson hit an epic bunker shot on 18, and the guy is just the content king. If we're being looking at this guy, he's unbelievable.
Yeah. So I know we want to talk about Bryson because he is the winner, but I think most times when you have a collapse like that, the loser gets talked about a good deal because it's a little bit more interesting in the moment. So Rory is 8 under, going to the 14th, and what happened in the end, missing 2 putts, 4 feet in. How does that happen? I guess is really how does that happen? And is that one of the most painful? We know some of the most painful major losses, Greg Norman, Van de Velde, all those things. But this one feels like it might be up there in the Mount Rushmore of painful chokes just because of where he was 4 holes earlier and how he had been playing and the 10 years that you mentioned, and to have it go down like that. That is an epic loss for Rory.
100%. I mean, the only other one I could think of recent memory that we still talk about that I actually was a part of was the final round in 2016 at the Masters where Jordan had, he had a 4-shot lead heading to the back 9 and makes a 7 at number 12, and Danny Willett goes on to win. That one was agonizing to watch. It was agonizing, I'm sure, for Jordan and then Rory today. But, dude, I can't think of any other golf event that was that entertaining over the last decade besides maybe the Jordan Masters one. It was just – and how does it happen? How do you miss those putts? 16 was, I felt like, inexcusable. That one, to me, was an easy 2-putt. I don't know what happened on his 3-footer that he missed, because he typically doesn't. He's really good inside of 3 feet. He's not somebody I was worried about. I was actually walking away, and I was like, oh, my God, he missed it. Just didn't even come into my mind that missing that putt was a possibility. And then 18 was actually a really interesting putt on 18 because I got behind and looked at it. I saw like inside left center, and I'd heard from Max, who you guys obviously have on all the time. He had told JT that he hit that putt in the practice round and said it's a really weird putt because if you get it started too far out on the left, the grain keeps it there. But if you start it inside the hole, it like breaks off the planet. And that's exactly what happened. So it was a really tough putt that he had. But, I mean, after Bryson hit in the bunker, I felt like we were going to, the aggregate scorecard or that not scorecard playoff, aggregate 2-hole playoff. And Bryson just got up there and just hit an unreal shot. So crazy.
Yeah, and you said it, I think, on the broadcast, which made it such great theater going down the stretch, that it felt like match play because of the way Pinehurst is set up, that like Rory was looking back and seeing where Bryson would end up before he would tee off on some holes. How was that all breaking down? I even heard, it might not have been you, but someone said that Rory kind of went fast on one of the greens to putt in so that you get the roar right before Bryson had to take a difficult shot. Like, how was that all set up from your point of view?
It started on the 9th hole, exactly what you just said. And Bryson had hit it long left at 8. It was going to have a really difficult up and down. And Rory and Bryson kind of looked at each other. And Bryson, I thought, was going to go, but Rory was not about to let Bryson hit a chip shot first. He wanted to make the putt to let him know that he just made birdie. And then Bryson hit an incredible chip and ends up getting up and down. And that's when I was like, oh, boy, we're in for some good stuff on the back 9. And then it just seemed like a back and forth of roars on the back 9, which I think going into the day, we wanted for Bryson and Rory to be in the same group, but it worked out way better this way because each person was waiting on each other. Rory pretty much watched every single shot that Bryson hit on that back 9 outside of a couple, because he would look back and saw exactly what he was doing, and he knew where he stood. And it makes it that much more heart-wrenching that he knew what he had to do and just wasn't able to get it done.
It also sounds like maybe the wrong strategy too by Rory, because it got in his own head. Like, he was feeling all the pressure in the world if he's missing 2 of those putts, and maybe he shouldn't have been paying that close attention to what Bryson was doing, but he's like timing out his shots to make sure that he can get the roar before Bryson. I don't know. It seems like it's not a usual strategy to take, so it ended up not being that effective. But when it comes to Bryson's strategy, it seemed like his way of breaking down this golf course was just basically like hit the fuck out of the ball and hope that you get a great lie in the native areas. Like, don't be afraid of the native areas and just hope that you luck out and it doesn't land up like in a bush. And it worked out pretty well for him. But do you think he was just kind of taking a reckless strategy towards the whole thing, where he was like, I'm just going to hit it long and hope that the lie turns out well for me?
Yeah, no, totally. You're right. I mean, there was definitely an element of luck involved this week at Pinehurst number 2. The native areas, man, like, for the most part all week, guys were able to hit out of it and kind of get it up near the green. I think Bryson only had to pitch out one time that I can remember. So there was a huge element of luck. I think there needs to probably be like have more of that like crazy grass out there, because there wasn't maybe enough of a penalty for some of the shots that Bryson was hitting today. Because Rory drove the absolute crap out of it today. And yeah, I mean, Bryson hits the shit out of it. Yeah, and so does Rory. They both had averaged like 340 yards off the tee, which is just insane to think about. Yeah, I mean, Bryson, he's epic, man. Like, he's fun to watch in person. He's fun to watch on TV, and he just wears his emotions on his sleeve. And I don't think we've had a golfer like that I can think of in a long time that is just built for TV. He's just box office Bryson, man.
He you know what he is, and I've seen some people were making this, so I'm not taking credit for this, but people were saying that he's the second coming of Phil, where when Phil was at his height, Phil was very he was emotional. He would wear it on his sleeve. His interviews were interesting. It's like he is like the 2024 YouTube version of Phil Mickelson.
Yeah, it's a good point you make. And in some ways, yes, they are similar. And I think that Bryson's goofier.
Yeah.
And Phil, I think, is much more of like a know-it-all, if you will.
Yep.
I think it's the best way to kind of describe Phil. But Phil was like expert in mind games and being able to kind of get not only in his own head, but in other people's heads, and how he kind of worked his way around a golf course and how he treated the media. Bryson's been interesting, man. Like, we need to have like a 30 for 30 on how somebody can leave the PGA Tour. And I would say that majority of the people were over Bryson, but they enjoyed watching him play golf. But as like the person and the person to like actually root for, I think it was probably closer to 50-50 whether people rooted for him or not. And so it's wild to me now. He goes to the LIV Golf Tour, and somehow he's become this unbelievably well-liked guy. And 90% of the dudes that have gone to the Live Golf Tour have become not well liked. So it's just wild how this is like totally turned in his direction. I think you got to point to his content, all the stuff that he's done off the golf course. His social channels are just insane. He's leaning into his audience, and then the TV too. He's just fun to watch.
I also think it might be one of the cases where he's the one guy where less is more. If you don't have to watch him every single week, he becomes a lot more palatable and interesting, where it's like it's work to hit, like overexposure might be a thing for him, and he can find his own audience online, which that's, people are opting into that. But if he was there on your TV every single Sunday, you'd be like, maybe I don't love this guy. So maybe he's the only one who's kind of won on Live.
They don't have microphones on the course that can pick up you complaining to a rules official about ants being near the ball.
Right. Or like getting hit.
They don't broadcast that part.
Getting hit. Remember when he got hit by the
that rope was fucked up.
That blamed everyone else?
That was a very violent rope. Yeah.
he blamed his caddy.
He stared at the rope.
Who fucking put that rope there?
Yeah.
So, but I had one question about Bryson in his game today, because it looked like he was going to lose it. And it was like, I thought going into today, there was, with the way the course was playing, if he shoots, even par, he should win. And that's about, I think he shot +1 today. But what happened with his driver? So his driver caved in practice, and then he had to use another driver. So you obviously, you're a professional golfer. You know all these guys. Is it that different when you're like, I need to now use a different driver? And how long does it take to get comfortable with it? Because clearly he didn't have the same accuracy on his driver today.
Yeah, I heard that he said that he couldn't turn over the driver today. And then, I think on the front nine, he was leaving everything out to the right. And then he was overcorrecting on the back nine. But yeah, it's a big deal not to have your gamer. He was driving that driver so well. And I heard he flattened his face, which is most of the time guys crack the face, and that's when they change out to new drivers. When I hear flat in the face, I actually think about his driver. It's called like bulge and roll, and nobody else has whatever the heck that even means. It's a curvature of the face, and it's the best way to explain it is it's like an autocorrect. So if you hit it in the heel, it starts further left. If you hit it in the toe, it starts further right. And I think his flattened to where it was less of a curve, and I guess he noticed it on the range pre-round and changed out his heads, and then went out to the course with something that he probably had maybe he had used that head before, but most likely not. So it was definitely probably an uneasy feeling, especially with Rory getting off to a good start, birdieing one. But it's just, you couldn't make up today, man. Like, the storylines today from start to finish were just epic.
Yeah.
I feel like the content game helped him out with that too, because he does a lot of wacky shit like that where he's like, I see if I can break par using a set of rented clubs that I just got like 5 minutes before. And so now, I mean, if we really want to stay woke on it, maybe there were some cameras going behind the scenes, and we're going to see like the entire he's like, oh no, my driver's broken. Can I win the US Open on can I win the US Open on day 4 with a brand new driver?
Mr. Beast challenge?
It's a Mr. Beast challenge, and it's a driver that he's been practicing with for like 6 months, and he knows inside and out, but he's acting like this is I'm just very woke on Bryson. And I have kind of like, I'm happy for Bryson's fans today, for the people like diehard Bryson content guys. Good for them. He's creative. He does some fun stuff, and he is more likable. I do think Big Cat's right, actually. I was thinking that earlier, that like you don't get to see Bryson all the time, so you don't get inundated with all the real corny stuff that he does.
Right.
But you do get to see him, and he looks like he's happy, and it's easy to root for a guy who's genuinely happy. I'm mad at Rory, though. I'm pissed off. I think that all amateur golfers, all people that golf for fun should be really angry with Rory today, because he just made the length of a gimme putt so much longer. Because now if it's inside Rory range, you're going to have to putt that out. Like, I've never missed a putt inside 4 feet before, because they say just pick it up, and I'm like, yes, I will pick that up. Now you don't get those gimmies anymore, so I'm upset with Rory. I think we all have a right to be upset with him after his performance today.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
You know what's kind of crazy about Rory today too is we're going to remember the missed putts at 16. We're going to remember the missed putt at 18. But what we're going to forget is how well he putted today. He made everything today. He made every important putt he had to make all the way up until the 16th hole. But history doesn't, unfortunately, isn't going to be kind to him on that. And it's got to be just such a tough feeling driving away from the golf course. Apparently peeling out. I haven't
Speeding
seen that
away.
video yet.
Yeah.
So.
It was Mad
Yeah,
Max.
through his clubs. So, all right. So, talking about the putting, you're there. Can you explain to us, in layman's terms, our listeners who've never played Pinehurst U.S. Open course? Obviously, neither have we.
No, we pretty much did.
We pretty much did. We played Mid Pines once. But like the greens, putting. Also, I loved the fact that if you hit it in the wrong spot, the ball just rolls forever. What does that look like when you're standing there, and how difficult is it for the guys who are the best in the world at golf?
It's just scary. It's just, it's an upside down salad bowl is basically what most of the greens look like. And when you get the firmness and the speed in which these greens played like this week, they're just daunting. Even standing from the fairway, looking at the green, it looks like you have nowhere to hit it. And I think you saw some of the best iron players in the world make shaky swings because they literally have a hula hoop that they're trying to land the golf ball in to get it close to the hole. Most of the time we saw guys bail out to the place to where you could maybe get it up and down. But when you get on the greens, you can make some putts if you got below the hole. The problem is when they stick the flag sticks on the corners of the green, you can't get below the hole. So you have all these, big breaking putts, lag putts that are really difficult. And some of the ones coming down the stretch, it looks like when you get that back hole locations on some of these greens, it looks like you're about to putt it over a cliff.
Wow.
And so most of the time you end up coming up short on most of your big lag putts from about 40 feet, because if you hammer it, you're going to have to go hit a 40-yard wedge shot on some of them. So rightfully so, these guys are leaving, these putts 4 or 5 feet short and giving themselves, putts they have to make for par, in which I thought today a lot of the guys really handled those tricky lag putts really well. And even the one on 16, it was a good putt that Rory hit the first one and just had a brain lapse on the second one. I can't explain what happened.
What's the shortest putt you've ever missed?
I missed a putt from probably 6 inches away, and I'll tell you what happened. If you're ever playing in the morning when it's dewy and the golf ball collects kind of some sand or collects a little bit of dew on it, and a lot of times players will clean the golf ball and tap in when there's some moisture or some sand on the ball. And so I go to tap it in, not realizing that it was on it, and I hit it maybe an inch in front of me. It didn't even feel like I made impact. That's how much water and sand was on the golf ball. So for me, something around the 6 inches range.
Damn.
Yeah, I do. It's very funny that you bring up the stat about Rory's putting actually being very good today. Like anybody will ever remember that. That's a big, like in real life. Besides that, how was the play, Miss Lincoln? Like he had a great day by all objective measures, but then the only thing people remember is those 2 putts. Do you think is there? Yeah, go ahead.
It's like I'm not to cut you off. I'm just thinking about like Russell Wilson, the interception he threw on the 2-yard line. Like all we remember is that. We don't remember hardly the amazing pass down the sideline to get them into that position to where they had a chance to go and win the game. Like that to me is like a pretty similar scenario where then it's like, all right, Russell gets it down to the 2, they don't hand it off. That's all we ever remember and talk about.
Yeah. That's a good comparison. Do you think that there's any chance that Rory can look back on this, I don't know, maybe a month, 2 months from now, and think like maybe it was a good thing? Maybe it showed me that I can compete. Like, does he get any confidence back whatsoever by being that close to winning another major?
Oh man, that's a good question.
Good question.
When it's been 10 years since you've won a major and you let one slip away like this happened today, because it did slip away. I think, yes, he'll remain confident in his game. I think this one's going to sting for a really long time. And it won't surprise me to see him pull out of the Travelers this next week. I doubt we'll see him there. I'd be shocked if we see him there. And yeah, the 5th major, there you go. The Keegan Bradley Invitational. And Man, I think we won't see him until maybe the Irish Open or the Scottish Open 3 or so weeks from now. He skipped out on media. So next time we'll really get to ask him the question is 3 weeks from now, and we'll see. But the Open Championship is his last shot this year, but the U.S. Open, that's 6 straight top tens that he's had at a U.S. Open. And it's just, we keep saying it's a matter of time, but you need some luck to win major championships. You have to have the opportunities, and he just didn't take advantage of his opportunities. It was his time to win today, and he just didn't get it done.
Yeah. So, last question about Bryson. That shot he made out of the bunker in 18. Can you explain to us how difficult that shot was? Because that was, as much as it was Rory choking, Bryson felt like, his tee shot on 18 was bad. He's in this really tough spot. Then he goes to the bunker, and then he makes an incredible shot to save par on 18 and win it outright. Like, what did that shot look like from where you were standing, and how difficult that was?
I was probably 15 yards away from him, so I had the best view in the house. And as soon as he hit into that greenside bunker, I said to my yardage guy, I was like, hey, let's get ready for a playoff with no chance he's getting this up and down. And as soon as he walked into the bunker, I could tell that there was a lot more sand than maybe some of the other bunkers on the course, which I thought made the shot even more difficult, because more sand, it's harder to, because that's how much closer you got to hit it to the golf ball, because the further back you take it, the shorter it's going to go. And I actually tweeted out, I said, if it was me hitting in there in that moment, I would have sent it over the clubhouse. I mean, a 55-yard bunker shot is one of the more difficult shots in the game. And Bryson probably hit I'd say a gap wedge is probably what he used, which is, somewhere around that 50 to 52 degrees. And full swing, probably that club entered maybe an inch behind the golf ball, and it's a full swing. So the fact that he went in there full swing and literally launching it over the clubhouse and having the nerve to pull the shot off and get it inside of 5 feet was unbelievable. It really was an unbelievable shot.
Yeah, I'm watching it again. It was crazy.
The shot that he hit, I forget which par 3 it was. He hit an 8-iron, like 215 yards. That was insane, just screaming at the ball in the air. That was one of the most impressive golf shots I've ever seen in my life.
It's, his iron game is weird because his lofts are similar. It's like if his 8-iron is like a normal 6-iron, but it's really fun to say when he has 215 yards and he hits an 8-iron. It's epic, like, to say that out loud, that somebody's hitting an 8-iron from that far away.
Yeah.
So all week, I would get the sign of, because we get the flash of, if it's a 9-iron, they flash me a 4. If it's an 8-iron, they flash me a 3. And some of the times I would be like, are you serious? Like, is that right? And just epic. Yeah. I mean, who doesn't like seeing that on TV? I don't know. The guy's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So wait, what's the deal with his irons? He's got different lofts. So like his 8-iron is actually a 6-iron?
Yeah, it's all because of how hard he hits it, and all the shit he does is really weird. So it's like 7-iron link shafts. He's got these jumbo grips. The lie angle is really weird, and what he's trying to do is to get the correct apex height. And when he explains it, you kind of understand what he's talking about. So, like, I'm going to give you what I know about it, which is he's just trying to match the flight in which the window that he typically wants a 9 and 8-iron to fly. And once he gets that waft correctly, because he hits so much, I guess, up on the golf ball, that's how they settle in on what their 9-iron or 8-iron waft actually is.
Huh.
It's really odd, because most guys are, a typical set is, 42 degrees is like a 9-iron, I think. And I think his is, closer to my brain is fried right now, so I don't even want to try to figure out what his lofts are, but just know that they're 2 irons off of what anybody else's is.
Yeah. He's like the Terrence Howard of golf, it sounds like. He just reinvented math.
Yeah.
It's something that y'all should consider though. Like, you should probably do it too, because like when you get to a tee box, you can just be like, "Hey, what are you hitting?"
Yeah.
And they'll say, "I'm hitting 7-iron," and then you can be like, "Oh, well, I'm hitting 9-iron."
Yeah.
But you're really hitting a 7-iron, so
Then
it's kind of a flex
in their head. So what I'll do is I'll take my 6-iron and I'll just write one little like curve on it, so that's an 8 now. That's my 8-iron.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so Smylie, this has been awesome. I had a couple last questions. The first was this was such a fun weekend of golf, and the U.S. Open is usually this way because it's such a great test, and they make it so difficult. And it's if you look at the leaderboard, there was like seven guys under par, and like it's just fun golf to see that test. Do you think that they should do that more often with some of these tournaments? Because birdies are fun, eagles are fun, but I think this type of golf is just so much more like exciting. Watching guys have to struggle and knowing like, hey, here's the deal: you have to hit the perfect shot to get a birdie, and if you make a little mistake, you're getting a bogey, and that's how it should work.
Yeah, no, the U.S. Open, I think, is the one week of the year that fans get to root for the golf course.
Yes.
We root for struggle. And it's totally opposite than what we saw for the PGA Championship at Valhalla, which was, by the numbers, the easiest golf course ever on a major championship, with Xander winning, I believe, at 21 under par, I think was the final.
Yeah.
So it's just total opposite, where the PGA Championship was all about how well could you execute. Could you be able to just hit the shot that's called in front of you, which is not a whole lot of thinking involved, versus U.S. Open, where there's a whole lot of thinking involved, and there's so much to take in, and there's all luck involved with Pinehurst #2. And yeah, I think there's a time and place for it. Like last week at the Memorial, like was a U.S. Open type of setup, and I think a guy like Scotty Scheffler, why he didn't have a good week this week was I think he was worn out from playing back-to-back U.S. Open type of setups. So there's times and places for it, but guys don't like playing U.S. Open style setups every week. And I think the fans like watching putts going for birdie for the most part on most weeks. But the U.S. Open's different, man. Like as long as the golf course, doesn't get out of hand, I think, and it didn't this week. It made for some incredible theater, and you really could tell that the guys on top of the leaderboard were the guys executing at the highest level.
What is out of hand? We were having this debate on Thursday.
Borderline.
What actually, we know borderline, but what is over the line? Because it's such a funny concept to me, being like, no, this golf course is like too mean.
Well, it starts with weather. You got to start with weather. If it's blowing, like if it was blowing 20 miles an hour today, it would have been out of hand. It would have been ridiculous because it was only a 5 to 7 mile an hour breeze. Totally fine. A lot of times, hole locations too. There's just certain things with course setup that can be just dumb to players, where they just get annoyed with like, what is the USGA trying to get out of this? Where I feel like today was a perfect setup. I thought it could have been a little bit harder too. Like I think they could have maybe made it a little bit trickier than they did. But I don't know. I think it ended up working out okay. I mean, it was. I'm still just in awe of what I witnessed.
Same.
Yeah, it was shocking.
Yeah.
It was also just when the back nine started, you knew that something special was going to happen. Did you get that feeling? Like, do you know that in the moment that this is going to be an iconic finish of a U.S. Open?
Yep. I think it all started on 9 green, and then 10 with Rory making a putt, and then Patrick making it right after, and then Bryson birdieing 10. But really, 13 is where I was like, this is going to be so sick down the stretch, because Rory gets up and down from behind the green, makes birdie, gets to 8 under, and Bryson just makes bogey at 12. And Rory's over his tee shot at 14, about to hit. And I had known that Bryson's 3-wood was already in the air, and it was on a good line. I was like, oh boy, there's about to be a roar. And of course, it lands short of the green, bounces up, goes 25 feet. And now Rory has to step off the ball. And I'm like, we're about to have this epic back and forth where they're going to have to wait on each other to hit, because one doesn't want to be hitting while the other hits an epic shot, and then in their downswing has a roar that's screws him up. So you knew there was going to be this waiting, and it turned out to be a chess game down the stretch, and it just was epic, absolutely epic.
It was so awesome, and that shot, yeah, that was when it really did feel like it started when he drove the green on the par 4. All right, so I have one last question for you, Smylie, and thank you so much, by the way. This has been awesome. Really cool to talk to someone who was right there.
Anytime.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have you back on. So, because I think you guys have the Open, right, as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got the Open Championship.
Great. So you'll be back on for that. So the last question, rowback question, rhoback.com, promo code TAKE, 20% off your first purchase. Q-zips, polos, hoodies, joggers, shorts. Great polos if you're a golfer and you're listening to this right now. Rowback.com, promo code TAKE. Now, you made the Bears comment at the beginning, and I didn't want to do this, but I'm going to have to do this. Did you see Alabama's new golf facility? Because there is no one who's ever going to go golfing at LSU ever again. It's the craziest, coolest golf facility that they made for their team. I think JT had like built the course, and it is incredible. So that sucks for you and your LSU Tigers, who I do like, but that sucks for you. Did you see it?
No, yeah, I've been I live in Birmingham, so I've been up to date on everything they're doing in Alabama. JT's kept me in the loop as well. It's sick. Yeah, I mean, they really didn't need a facility there because the golf courses there, in Tuscaloosa, I wouldn't call, first class as far as any of the other courses compared. The LSU's coming out of me. It's bad. Okay,
no, that's good.
They really did need to get a golf course in which they can kind of go and practice and do, hit all different kinds of shots, and it looks sweet. I'm very jealous, and I'll probably end up going there a time or two, hopefully, maybe with JT or Trey Mullinax or some of those boys. But yeah, it's sick. Heck, I mean, shoot, when you come down to Baton Rouge like you do once or twice a year for a football game, we'll have to head out there, and I got to fix your posture, man. Your golf swing posture is something I've never seen before.
Wait, Smylie, did you not see the 28 I shot at Sharktooth in the front nine on
you're down at Panama City.
Yeah, I shot a 28 on the front nine.
Yeah, did I see that you birdied 17 to like kind of finish with like a 54 on the back or something like that?
Yeah, I ended with an 83, so it kind of got away from me, but a 28 on the front nine is pretty insane. I was 8 under going to the hot dogs.
Yeah, I mean, that's not bad. 28's pretty good out there on the front.
I played 7 holes. It was so hot. It was so goddamn hot. I played like 7 holes and quit.
What was Portnoy's like breaking? Did he like break par? Was that what it was?
He shot 4 under at Shinnecock, but he had unlimited mulligans. So he just sat there and they just fed him balls over and over. He shot like 1,000 shots.
He won the U.S. Open.
Open.
Yeah, that was his goal, is to try to beat the winning score just by taking as many shots, because they thought that he would just run out of time.
Yeah,
there aren't enough mulligans in the day for him to complete it. But he brought like 5 guys out there that were feeding him balls, shagging all the ones he was hitting.
Gosh.
So yeah, he dominated that course.
My next question is how many golf balls it would take for Portnoy to get up and down from where Bryson was in the bunker at 18.
Oh,
I don't know. Well, he's got a bad shoulder now.
He's got a bad shoulder.
He can't do that.
He does have a bad shoulder.
Okay.
He'd probably dislocate. He
doesn't have a bad swing. He just has a bad shoulder. So. But yeah, we gotta play, and I would love for some tips, and you can fix my swing. I have your number now. Maybe I'll FaceTime you while I'm on the simulator, and you can give me some tips.
Hell yeah, man. This has been great, and anytime you want to have me on, love to do it. But yeah, definitely look forward to potentially seeing it down in Baton Rouge. Like, we bump into each other every year with the Canes and walk-on folks over there at LSU.
Yes.
It's a good time.
They're the best.
Smylie, you guys also dodged a bullet. I guess not you guys, but the USGA did, because there were some people that were very much looking forward to Monday golf. And then, people started to correct them and say like, hey, actually it's just a 2-hole playoff now. But if it had gone to a playoff, people would have been really pissed off that we didn't have a full Monday of golf. Why did they change that rule? Can we bring that back? I love the extra day of golf.
I am so pumped that's not a thing. Like, one of my biggest things now that I'm not playing and I'm just in media, for the most part, I don't really care who wins. I just care that they finish on time and that there's no playoff.
Yeah.
So that I get to go home. So Sorry for being selfish on that. But a playoff would have been super epic, and I would have just ended up flying home tomorrow. But yeah, I don't know. It would have been fun to have a playoff, especially with Bryson and Rory, or like, Liv versus PGA Tour battle. Like now they're looking each other in the eye for, I don't even know what holes they would have been. I should know the answer to this because I was actually kind of freaking out, figure out what hole I would need to report to because I was like on one, but I was like, maybe it's 17. So I was like kind of walking around in circles like a dog trying to figure out where I was going. And then Bryson, of course, makes the putt. So it's like, all right, I'm going home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I understand from your point of view. You want to get home, but that year that we got it with Tiger and Rocco,
Sick.
I would put that
Sick.
day up there with any NCAA tournament, any day after the Super Bowl for like the least productive day of work across America. Like nobody did anything. We were just all watching golf, and it was awesome.
Yeah, that's a great point. Monday morning meetings, so there have been a lot of cancellations
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Smylie, safe flight. Thanks again for doing this. This was awesome, man. And we'll talk to you before the Open.
Yeah, as Coach O would say, go Tigers.
Go Tigers. All right. Thanks, Smylie.
Smylie Kaufman was brought to you by Chevy. As everyone knows, this is a Chevy truck podcast. The greatest trucks ever built, and our good friends at Chevrolet have been a big part of my take story, from the Silverado helping us dig the biggest hole ever dug in Ohio during Grit Week, to Silverado partnering with us to give college fullbacks all the rightful recognition that they deserve with a Lowman Award, to our nonstop cross-country trip to the Super Bowl in L.A. behind the wheel of a Silverado. Silverado has been part of it all. Chevy Silverado, longtime awesome partner of the show, a truck with commanding, unstoppable grit, legendary capability, and dependability too. So find out for yourself. Like so many other AWLs, head to Chevy.com, check out all the Chevy truck grit, build your own Silverado. For do-it-yourself projects to road trips, off-road adventures, tailgates, whatever your thing is, it all starts with a Chevy truck. Check Chevy out today. Go to a dealership, get behind the wheel of a Chevy Silverado, and enjoy it. And now, here's our good friend, Mike Florio.
Michael.
Mike,
Hi.
how we doing?
Hello. Great to be with you. Great to be seen. I'm just checking out all your different sponsorships you guys have whored yourself out to.
Oh, yeah. We're Wayne's World.
Would you like to sponsor us?
Hey, don't roll your eyes, Hank. Fuck you, Hank. Let's go.
All right, here we go.
I
All
see
right.
you rolling your fucking eyes,
was
man. You're
rolling my eyes.
Ready on a
Why
Sunday
are
night
you
and
being
roll your
so
fucking eyes
hostile?
at
I was
me.
not
I'll drive
rolling
out
my
there
eyes.
and kick your fucking ass.
I wasn't even rolling my eyes.
I saw you rolling your eyes, bitch.
All right, let's do it. All right, here we go.
Leave that in.
3, 2, 1. All right, we welcome on our good friend. It is Mike Florio.
Off to a combative start.
Off to a combative start. We'll leave in right when he told Hank, don't roll your fucking eyes. Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk. Also, I'm going to say this right now to our AWLs. AWL, the takeys are coming up. So I know you know this, Mike, but every year we give away takeys, and award-winning listeners are up for the listeners of this show. They've won it 7 years in a row. They're going for an 8-peat. Here's how they could maybe get a little bit closer to getting their 8th AWL status. Mike has a book called Father of Mine. It's on Amazon. It's a mob novel. Everyone loves reading about the mob. There's a sequel coming out in September. Let's boost those book sales. Go buy it right now on Amazon.
Yes.
Mike has always been
Yes.
to be
Is Hank
sentimental.
rolling his eyes again? Cut
No.
to Hank.
No, I've read it.
He's rolling his
I've read it
eyes.
front to back, back
Don't
to
you roll
front.
your eyes.
To be sentimental
Hi,
for a
Hank.
second,
I love Hank.
Mike has done a
Love you
lot
too.
for PFT and I in our careers,
And me.
and Hank. And so, without Mike Florio in our lives, we probably wouldn't be all the way sitting here. We'd probably still.
Yeah,
be
you
sitting
would
here.
be. You would
Yeah,
be.
we're pretty incredible.
You would have cease and desisted if you had cease and desisted me in like year one. I don't know that it ever gets here. So domino effect. Yeah, you kind of created part of my take.
Yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
you are a big part of our lives. But we wanted Mike on because we are at the point of the calendar where teams are about to go on break until training camp, and we have been talking about basketball and baseball and hockey and golf, and we just want to talk some ball. We want to talk about football, the sport we love, because we know there's not going to be any football news for the next month or so until training camps open. So we wanted Mike on to talk a little ball. And Mike, I want to start with probably your favorite topic, and we'll have Memes make sure that his mic is on for this. Is there a problem in New York with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets?
I don't think there's a problem. And I know that Memes had some issue with something that I said last week because I saw the tweet and I had to send it to you, Big Cat, to get an interpretation, like most people of my generation do. Hey, son, what is this all about? I didn't get it. Here's the issue with Aaron Rodgers, and I think this is more about the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. They fucked this up so bad last week. All they had to do was excuse his absence. That's all they had to do. And I think what happened was some lawyer on the payroll for the Jets said, well, if we don't fine him, then that will become a precedent that gets used against us if other players miss mandatory minicamp, and we won't be able to enforce the fines against them. There's a point where you have to tell the lawyer shit down and shut up, or sit down and shut up, as the case may be, because they just should have excused it. And I think the Jets would say it still would have been a big story. Think about the difference between the story if Robert Saleh says last Tuesday, Aaron Rodgers isn't here, and it's an unexcused absence, versus Aaron Rodgers isn't here, and it's excused, and we've known about it, and it's no big deal. I think that it's 10% of the story that it was last week at most, if they just would have excused the absence. So I put this on them. They've known now, look, he's known for 20 years when mandatory minicamp typically is, middle of June. So whatever ayahuasca retreat he's on, he should have tried to schedule it around this. But once they knew that he wasn't going to be there, they needed to handle it differently, and they made it into a bigger thing than it needed to be, and that's my take on it.
Okay, so no problem.
No, so there's not a problem. It sounds like Saleh, according to your theory, they knew this was going to happen, and then Saleh was like, we have to say it's unexcused, and the fine is like minimal. What is it, like a couple grand or something like that?
50 grand total. 50 grand total for the 2 days he missed.
Oh, 50 grand. I guess that's a little bit more than I thought that it was, but they could have
He's
just...
making $35 million a year.
Yeah.
50 grand's nothing.
But I saw your report that now the Jets are entering phase me in their offseason. There's phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and then there's phase me.
Ooh.
So what is phase me, and does Aaron Rodgers missing mandatory minicamp delay his start of phase me?
Well, and that's what was funny about the press conferences last week, both of them with Saleh, because we've been led to believe the New York media is this rough and tumble bunch that asks a series of tough questions and takes no prisoners, and they tiptoe on eggshells around Aaron Rodgers. And when Saleh was questioned twice last week, number one, they never asked him, where is Aaron? If he's not here, where is he? Just where is he? 2 press conferences back-to-back days, he was never asked that question. And on Wednesday, he went from explaining his view on this period of time from the end of the offseason program to the start of training camp, and he calls it phase me. What do you do when you're left to your own devices? What do you do when you could either be going to the beach and drinking all day, or going to the gym and properly hydrating and being ready to go when training camp starts? And when you think about, and this is the issue that I have with Aaron Rodgers, when he made that speech in January about what this season needs to be about, it needs to be about winning, not some of the time, not most of the time, all of the time. And any bullshit unrelated to winning needs to be out of the building. He hasn't lived that. And I know he'll make whatever excuse he needs to make, but dude, beyond missing the 2 days of mandatory minicamp, which are the centerpiece of the offseason program, it would be helpful if the guy who's the leader of the team is there as they're being sent off for 40 days of, we hope you don't fuck everything up by getting out of shape, getting arrested, having this happen, having that. We want you to be focused on football and ready to go when we come back. It's one thing to have the coach say it. It's another thing to have Aaron Rodgers say it. And that was the missed opportunity more than anything else last week, that he wasn't there to send that message to his teammates. And there'll never be a bright line. Whatever they do this year, there'll never be a bright line back to that. But still, having him there, the way he's tried to take over that team and the way that they worship him, what a message if he stands up in the last meeting and says, guys, this is about winning, and the next 40 days lays the foundation for everything we're going to do the rest of the year. Let's do it right. Let's think about each other. Let's not think about ourselves. And for him to not even be there, good luck getting that message across to 90 guys.
Okay, I like that answer. Memes, do you feel okay with that answer, that Aaron Rodgers is selfish, phase me started a little early for him, and there's a problem in New York? Do you feel okay with this, Memes?
I felt okay with everything up until Aaron Rodgers needed to do a rah-rah speech to get 90 guys going.
Okay.
But imagine the power of that speech, though, Memes.
Yeah, that would have been incredible.
Yeah, no, they're adult professional athletes that they're fine.
Okay, so memes. Last part of this questioning: is Florio still the number one Florio? Because you had it last week. Your rankings were the top 3 Florios in media right now are Mike Florio number 1, Matt Miller number 2, Diana Rossini number 3. Does Florio keep his crown?
I think Diana moved up.
Oh wow,
yeah.
Diana's the number 1 Florio.
She's number 1.
What'd she do?
She was tweeting about Aaron Rodgers a lot last week.
Okay. Mike, how do you feel about that? No longer being the number 1 Florio.
I'll work extra hard. I'll spend all of Phase Me devoted to reclaiming my crown by the time training camp starts.
I love the idea of Phase Me. Anytime Hank takes a vacation, he's just going to rebrand it as I'm on Phase Me right now. I'm working on that.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of a weird story. You mentioned maybe you haven't thought about this angle of it though. Aaron said he wants all the bullshit out of the building. Aaron Rodgers isn't in the building right now. Maybe he's living his message.
Well, and that is quintessential Aaron Rodgers. It's the kind of word games he played when he said, yeah, I've been immunized back in 2021, not to go down that rabbit hole. But he said, and when he was pressed about it back in the OTAs when he was available to the media, they said, how does this mesh with your message from January? And he said, we're not in the building yet. We're not in the season yet, which is very hypocritical, which tells me he's absolutely ready to enter politics. I think it's inevitable that he's going to get into politics, and he's already perfected the art of saying one thing and doing the exact opposite and not even flinching, because he did that whole rant about no bullshit in the building. And now he's already able to do whatever he wants to do and act like it doesn't apply to him. And I think that's the biggest problem I have with it, because he wagged a finger at all of his teammates. And what's it been with him this offseason? Memes. It's been one fucking distraction after another. He's going to run for VP. And this is the story that I think the New York media whiffed on. This guy was thinking about quitting on the Jets, ghosting the Jets, and running for vice president of the United States. He was considering that. That's what the implication would have been. He would have said, see you later. Have fun with Tyrod Taylor or Zach Wilson if they hadn't traded him. I'm out. He at least considered that. And I think it just makes it harder to stomach what he said back in January, the way he's conducted himself the last 4 months.
See, this is why Mike is the best, because memes just put Diana Rossini at number 1 Florio.
I'm already working to get back,
he literally
baby.
just got right back to work.
I think you're number 1
and
again.
I don't really like how you talk about Aaron Rodgers. I'm a converted Aaron Rodgers fan now that he's out of my life, and I'm rooting for him to have nothing but happiness with the Jets and memes. All right, so topic 2 I had. Someone in this room was at Tom Brady's retirement. It was an incredible night, as he reported. But what's it like right now in New England with the way that Robert Kraft has contorted himself? No, how do you say?
Comported?
Comported himself in the last year or so with how he dealt with Belichick, the documentary. What's going on in New England, Mike? Windhorse meme.
That documentary was strange, especially because if you watch those episodes at the very end, the message that came up on the screen, and I can't remember it exactly, but it was Kraft fingerprints all over this thing.
Yeah.
And they had an explanation for it, and that's our story, and we're sticking to it. It was just kind of a strange thing, but the overwhelming sense was this documentary on Apple TV Plus was just a way to set the record straight or spin the narrative a different way. And Chris Sims made a great point last week when we were talking about
First
the
one
Tom
ever.
Brady. Okay, you said that, not me. I love Chris. Chris makes a lot of great points.
I like Chris as well. I'm giving him a hard time.
His point was, because Brady got up and said about Belichick, it wasn't me, it wasn't you, it was us. Well, okay, fine. If you're going to do this whole shebang for Brady, when does Belichick get his?
Mm-hmm.
They need to do the exact same thing for him.
Agreed.
If it's equal. If Tom's right, they need to do the exact same thing for Belichick at some point that they did for Brady.
Okay. Hank, you feel okay about
I
that?
agree with that.
Yeah?
Bring Bill back.
Wow.
Build him a statue.
Mark this down, time stamp. All right, we're good.
All right, you have any beef with Florio right now?
No.
Where in the beef?
I had no beef with Florio.
Okay.
I love Mike. I always
Okay.
have.
Well,
All right,
last time it was a little dicey. It was the whole fan fiction thing.
Well, yeah, but that's,
You guys really love to stir shit.
Well, I
You
just want to
guys
make sure the air is
are
cleared here, Mike.
assholes. You know exactly
wanna
what
make
to
sure-
do.
I'll
We
toss
just
you a
wanna make
softball.
sure.
Here's a softball question for you, Mike. Why was Malcolm Butler benched during the Super Bowl?
Ooh.
Hell, I don't know. I mean, I really don't know, but it sounds like, as it was said during the Apple TV Plus documentary, it was something personal, unrelated to football. I remember sitting in the press box and we had all the PFT writers in a row. And Michael David Smith said, "Why is Malcolm Butler not in the game?" I mean, I'll never forget that. It was so freaking weird. And when you consider that it was a shootout, at some point, you just say, go. You can't do any worse than the guys we have out there.
Yeah.
Go. Get out on the field and try to at least stop them once so we can outscore them. The whole thing was weird, and who knows if we'll ever get the truth. Maybe Belichick, he's writing a book, although I don't think it's a book about his time in New England. I think it's just like a football book. But maybe at some point Belichick will tell everybody what he was thinking when he did that.
So there's something else that you're working on, and you tweeted out, you alleged, you kind of danced around a little bit, but I'd like you to expand on it if you could. Your tweet was, "There's a small army of reporters who cover the NFL on a constant basis. Meanwhile, hardly anyone is paying attention to a lawsuit against the NFL that could cost the league billions and revolutionize the way games are made available to fans." What does that mean? And are you threatening to take football off TV?
No. I mean, I'm trying. Look, hey, I'm one of the only ones that is out there looking for any bits and pieces I can get about this massive Sunday ticket trial from a case that was filed 9 years ago. The judge originally threw the case out. They appealed it. The case got reinstated. It's been hanging around, and it finally started trial on June the 5th. And I'm trying to shine the light on what this could be, and I'm trying to get people to at least be somewhat optimistic that at the end of the day, Sunday ticket could be a lot cheaper than it's been. And, from the moment I first became aware of Sunday ticket, I thought there was something weird about this. Why can't we just buy the teams we want? You're in Pittsburgh and you're a Bears fan. You just want the Bears games. Why do I have to spend $400 or whatever the price is any given year to buy the whole fucking package? Why can't I just get the games I want? Why can't I just get the weekends I want? If I'm a Bears fan in Pittsburgh and the Bears are on Monday Night Football, I don't need that weekend. I don't want that weekend. There's no flexibility. And it's always felt weird to me. And the NFL has always just kind of pressed forward and made as much money as they could from it. But this case is about what the NFL allegedly has done to protect the deals with CBS and Fox. And without getting too deep into the weeds, it's as simple as this. They required, allegedly, but I think the evidence has proved this, they've required DirecTV to charge a certain price so people don't get it and they just watch whatever CBS or Fox has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
So if you drop it, and ESPN, according to evidence that was introduced last week, wanted to charge $70 for the whole season and give you a team-by-team option. Apple TV Plus, I saw this reporting back when they were negotiating the current deal with YouTube. Apple TV Plus just wanted to include it in whatever it costs now per month to have Apple TV Plus, like $6.99 a month or whatever. They just wanted to give it to you as part of the base package. So the NFL allegedly, but the evidence is proving this out, wanted to keep it at a certain number. They call it a premium product because they want to protect and preserve the CBS and Fox relationship so they can get a shitload of money from CBS and Fox and a shitload of money from whoever has Sunday ticket. And they've done it for 30 years. And the chickens have come home to roost, and this all might blow up in their faces. And they're looking at supposedly $7 billion in damages for what we all paid, and it's a nationwide class action. It's what we all paid versus what we all should have been paying all along, at least during whatever window this covers, and it's 10, 11, 12 years. And under the antitrust laws, $7 billion gets tripled. So worst case scenario for the NFL is $21 billion. And as a practical matter, they're going to have to revolutionize the way they make the games available. So if you want to watch the Commanders in Chicago, you can do it 1 week at a time. You can do it one team at a time. You don't have to buy the whole damn thing. So this is good for fans. And I'm sure the NFL is pissed that I've been covering it the way I have.
Of course.
But this is something fans should be happy about, because if the NFL loses, and I've said this, we should be rooting for the NFL to lose this, because it will make it easier for all the fans to have cheaper choices and broader selections to watch out-of-market games on Sundays.
I like that. And if they lose, if they have to pay $21 billion, is there a chance maybe we get a second Super Bowl?
I don't think it's going to.
That would rock.
I don't think it's going to be $21 billion. That's just the absolute worst case scenario. But keep this in mind: they will appeal it, and they will appeal it, and they will take it all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. And I don't want it to get into the political realm here, but the way the court is currently constituted, they'd probably be confident at the end of the day they'll win.
Wow!
And so they'll just bide their time and play it out, and it may take 5, 6, 7 more years. but I think they're confident if it eventually gets to the Supreme Court, they'll win.
Roger Goodell flies Clarence Thomas out to Canton, Ohio, puts him in the Hall of Fame. Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah, this could be good. It could be good for sports. Or instead of the second Super Bowl, they could do Rashard Mendenhall's idea, and they could do the Race Bowl and have that played before the Super Bowl. I think that would be
all I know is Samuel Alito is going to be flying an NFL flag upside down.
I like that. Okay, next question. Trevor Lawrence just signed a massive new deal, which, okay, I think he was injured last year. I think he's a good quarterback. It makes sense. You have to do it if you're the Jaguars. But like all of these new deals for quarterbacks, the question just immediately becomes who's next and what's the price. And I would assume Dak is on that list. Brock Purdy might be on that list.
Tua.
So Caleb Williams, I'm ready to give him his long-term deal right now. So who is next, and what are the prices going to look like?
You mentioned Purdy, and one of the things I hope doesn't happen this year when we're watching 49ers games, I hope there aren't these graphics that are playing up the idea that Purdy is the cheapest starting quarterback in the NFL, because the 49ers can't do anything about it. By rule, if you're drafted, undrafted, it's 2 years. If you're drafted, it's 3 years. You've got to wait 3 years before you're even eligible to have a second contract. So that applies to Caleb Williams, applies to Brock Purdy. And that's the time that we've said in the past with other guys, the Texans now with C.J. Stroud. You've got 2 more years before he's even eligible for another contract. Spend on Stephon Diggs, Danielle Hunter, and Joe Mixon, because you can't pay the guy who's the most important player on your team for 2 more seasons. So Purdy gets set aside in a different category, and he's got to wait at least a year, and then we'll see what the 49ers do next year. Dak, I think, goes into a different category as well. I wrote this yesterday. Dak's leverage doesn't come from whatever the market is. Dak's leverage comes from his contract and the cap number this year of $55.4 million and the cap charge next year of $54.5 million if he leaves. They need to redo his deal and engineer these cap charges, or they're looking at $110 million over the next 2 years that's going to be in Dak Prescott's name, because most of these contracts, they give you a lot of money early and they kick the can down the road. And at some point, you've got to deal with a giant freaking cap charge. And that's where the Cowboys are. And that's where Dak's leverage is, because he can just sit back and say, like one of my all-time favorite movies, Goodfellas, oh, you had a fire, fuck you, pay me. Oh, business is bad, fuck you, pay me. He can just sit back and say, fuck you, pay me. Mm-hmm. And that's where his leverage comes from. And the Cowboys know it. And it's keeping them from getting CeeDee Lamb signed. And it's keeping them from even thinking about Micah Parsons. They're in a mess. And it's all because of Dak's contract. And it's all because they waited too long to do his contract after he was eligible. After his 3rd year, they made him play under his 4th year of his rookie deal. They franchise tagged him a year, and then they finally realized we got a problem here. And now they've got an even bigger problem. So he's separate as well.
Okay.
The deeper question that you raised, though, as it relates to Trevor Lawrence, I said this about him, and I said this about Jared Goff, and I've said this about others in the past. Who are these teams bidding against when they make these gigantic market level offers? Who else is going to take this guy away from you and pay that much money? And maybe that would happen. Maybe if the Lions had said, hey, Jared, we're going to let you become a free agent and you can see what else is out there or not out there. You know, with Trevor, it's different. He had 2 years left, but that's the real thing with Tua and the Dolphins. Because I think Tua wants to get something that starts with a 5, not a 4. And I don't think the Dolphins want to pay something that starts with a 5. And you have to wonder, will they just say, Tua, go ahead? Because ask yourself that question. If Tua is available to anyone who wants him, what are they going to pay him?
Yeah.
What's he going to get on the open market? And I feel like one of these days, one of these teams is going to draw that line in the sand. The Vikings kind of did it with Kirk Cousins. They dared him to go get better than whatever they were willing to pay, and he did. And I can see the Dolphins doing that with Tua, unless Tua comes down from wanting to be in this upper echelon of NFL quarterbacks.
I had one other question about the contracts. Is Patrick Mahomes' contract gonna, like, all of a sudden the best contract that's ever been signed for a team?
Oh, absolutely. 12 years. And what they did last year when Joe Burrow got his contract, they moved some of the money around so the cash flow for 2 or 3 years for Mahomes would be just a little better than Burrow's. And they're going to have to do that again. And they're going to have to do it again. And when you sign a 12-year contract, you're hoping that the team will do that as needed. They could fold their arms and say, too bad, you're under contract. The guy that I think should be making an issue here, and I mentioned this to Brandon Beane, at the scouting combine, and I think he wasn't happy that I mentioned it. Josh Allen is getting screwed because Josh Allen doesn't have any devices in his contract that would force them to pay him more. He's at 45 as well. I mean, the two best quarterbacks in the NFL are at 45 million per year. And now we've got guys at 55 million per year. At some point, Josh Allen needs to be saying to the Bills, we got to do something about this because all due respect to Trevor Lawrence, he's not Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And if other guys get close to that, it just becomes more skewed and more warped. But that's what happens all the time. That's why I've been arguing for years that somebody needs to get a contract at the quarterback position that pays him a percentage of the salary cap. So as the cap goes up, his number goes up, and you never get in this spot where you feel like the guy's getting screwed.
Yeah.
He's always getting a specific 18%, 17.5675, however they would negotiate it, but it's the same percentage of the total cap every year. And then you feel like the guy's being treated fairly, and his contract will increase as the market goes.
That also sounds like a lot of math. That would be tough. If I was a GM, I'd be like, I have to do too much math for that contract. Can I just give me a number and I'll pay that? But to Big Cat's point, everybody says you have to pay these guys. So like when it's Trevor Lawrence, yeah, you kind of have to pay him because you're afraid of just not having Trevor Lawrence anymore.
Right.
You're afraid of what the open market looks like. You're afraid of being single again out there. And so it's like I'd rather take Trevor Lawrence and just kind of I know that I have to take my medicine on his contract than to have to start all over again because I feel like the fan base would get pretty frustrated if that were the case.
There's three types of teams in the NFL: teams that have franchise quarterbacks, teams that don't, and teams that have a guy that they're not sure yet whether or not he's going to be one. And the Jaguars are betting that Lawrence is going to be one. And when he becomes one, they've got a damn good contract. That's what that 55 is. Because one of the things I've been preaching all off season, it's amazing how many teams don't pay attention to this. The longer you wait, the more expensive it gets. The Vikings waited too long with Justin Jefferson, and it got a lot more expensive. The Cowboys are waiting with Dak and CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons, and it's only getting more expensive. It never gets cheaper unless the guy literally gets hit by a bus or wakes up one day and can't play anymore. That's the only way it gets cheaper. Teams, I don't think, are smart to bet on the guy all of a sudden falling apart. You bet on him being good, and the earlier you make that bet, the better off you're going to be. That's what was brilliant about what the Jaguars did. Because if they had waited around for Dak to get his, or Tua to get his, or the next guy after that to get his, Jordan Love is the one we haven't talked about. That Jordan Love's going to get paid based on half a season, but he's going to get paid. You wait as other guys get their deals done, it only makes the price higher. I think they could have gotten Trevor Lawrence for less if they'd have done it before Jared Goff got 53.
Yeah.
So it was smart for the Jaguars to realize, hey, this is our guy. We're willing to go all in with him. Let's stop the bleeding because it's only going to get more expensive.
Yeah, I actually think that there are four kinds of quarterbacks. There's the guy, that's number one. There's our guy, that's number two. And then there's is he the guy? That's three. And then not the guy, that's four. And I would rather be in situation 1, 2, or 4 than is he the guy?
I think you're right. Now, the Dolphins are kind of in 2 or 3, and that's the problem. When you have a large chunk of the fan base that are card-carrying members of Tuanon, they want Tua to get a market-level contract. And I know that Tua's people are making comps statistically between Tua and the other guys who have the top contracts. So there's a belief there that he deserves that. Then you got other people in the Dolphins fan base who are like, wait a minute, we can find 20 guys to do what this guy does. Now, I don't know who's right or who's wrong, but he's very polarizing. And to your point, you just have to be right. And once you know he's your guy, maybe he's not the guy, but if he's the best you're going to do, that's when you need to get that deal done, because whatever he becomes, if he keeps playing well, it's going to keep getting more expensive. And I don't understand that. I don't know why tiers haven't developed where you have the best of the best, you have the middle, and you have, but it's all, we've seen this in recent years. Okay, hey, I'm good enough and I'm eligible for a new contract, so I want to be the highest paid player in NFL history. And I'd like to think teams are going to push back a little more on that, but so far, most of them have. You
mentioned doing a contract that was proportional to the salary cap and then changing it year over year. Do you think a team would ever, maybe the Dolphins with Tua, would do almost like flash pricing where it's like, all right, here's our schedule. we're going to pay you Joe Burrow money for all games we think are going to be above 80 degrees. And then any
That's
game
good.
we think that's going to be below 40 degrees, you get Gardner Minshew money.
Yeah, there was a Coke machine at one point. Sorry, I know you got the Pepsi cans on there. Maybe
Yeah,
it was
we're
a
Pepsi.
machine.
It was Pepsi.
And I'm Pepsi too. I've had Pepsi stock for 25 years, and I'm
Hell
Pepsi
yeah.
and only Pepsi. Hashtag Team Pepsi.
Of course you have
But
Pepsi stock.
There was a soda machine that the price went up and down based upon how hot it was. So
Yeah.
there's something to that.
Okay, so I think this might be the new – I think the Dolphins should sit them down and be like, look, they scheduled us in New England and Buffalo in December. You're going to have to take a pay cut that year.
I'll say this. 5 years ago, the Rams were on the verge of making Jared Goff one of the highest paid players in football. And I was saying very loudly and very clearly, why are you doing that? Sean McVay's the guy running the offense. Goff had chances in Super Bowl 53 against the Patriots. You had Brandon Cooks wide open on the exact same play once in the first half, and he threw it to, I don't know if it was Allen Robinson or someone else instead. It wasn't Allen Robinson. It was Robert Woods running across underneath. Cooks was open, and Goff missed him. They did the same play in the second half. Cooks was wide open. Goff saw him too late, threw it late. Jason McCourty ran over and broke it up. If you make that throw, maybe the Rams win that game. And my point was, why are you going to be in a position where you're held hostage by this guy as your quarterback and pay him all that money when you could find somebody else? And the Rams were kind of hostile about it, and they were stubborn about it, and they paid him all that money. And then 2 seasons later, what did they do? They gave up an extra first-round pick in the Matthew Stafford trade to get Goff off their books. And look, I think Jared Goff has done very well with the Detroit Lions.
Also our friend.
He beat Matt Stafford.
He beat Matt Stafford. He won that trade.
I think that the best thing that ever happened to him was the Rams kind of throwing him out the front door because it pushed him to a higher level of achievement. But that's the broader point. As I said earlier, who are you bidding against? What are your alternatives? And at some point, you just need to have confidence. And I think that's what the Vikings were doing this year with Kirk Cousins. I don't know this, but I don't think they really wanted him to come back. I think they made an offer that wasn't so low it was insulting, and they said, hey, go ahead, see what's out there, and cross your fingers and hope that somebody else pays him enough that he leaves so they could reset. Because if you keep him, how long is he going to be there anyway? Yeah. They reset with J.J. McCarthy, and they see what happens, and you have a great play caller, a great play designer in Kevin O'Connell, a great quarterback whisperer. Maybe McCarthy becomes the guy they haven't had really since Fran Tarkenton. So you have to have the willingness. And I think, to your point, internet son, when you're in category 2, but you're really kind of in category 3, you got to be willing to slip into category 3 and say, this isn't our guy, and we're going to go all the way to category 4 and move on.
No, but what usually happens, you're in category 3, is he the guy territory? And then you say, he's our guy. So you will him into category 2.
But if you go from 3 to 2,
you gotta be willing to say, fuck it, he's in category 4.
If you go
bad.
back and forth from 3 to 2, you should be in 4.
Yes.
Justin Fields, Mitch Trubisky.
Yes, if you have that
spend
question.
the whole time going back and forth between 3 and 2.
Me and Big Cat are experts on guyism. We're guy-sexual. And we've been through this song and dance before. We know what it is. Now, with Kirk Cousins, him going to Atlanta just got slapped with maybe just the most moderate tampering penalty of all time, considering how long this investigation took. What happened with Kirk Cousins and Atlanta? Were they talking before the window? Were they talking numbers during the window? Were they not allowed to be talking? I don't understand how there was this big tampering investigation, and then they're like, you know what? Wasn't that bad.
There's 2 important background points. Number 1, tampering happens all the time. The only people that get in trouble are the ones who are stupid enough to get caught. Everyone tampers. When you go to the scouting combine every year, it's open season. The teams are there. The agents are there. There's no digital trail on anyone's phone because everyone's meeting with each other face to face, and you can talk openly and freely. And when you leave Indianapolis, the teams and the agents have an idea of who's going to be pursuing the top free agents. So the tampering happens. And the other side of it is Rich McKay, who's got an executive level job at the Falcons. He kind of got pushed out but up into a higher position during this most recent turnover of the coaching staff. He's very influential in league circles. He's the chair of the competition committee. He's tight with Roger Goodell. They had a fake crowd noise thing 8 or 9 years ago that they only got hit with a 5th-round pick. $350,000 fine, but that's a parking ticket for a multi-billion-dollar business. A 5th-round pick, that's the currency that gets the team's attention. That's all they lost for deliberately pumping in fake crowd noise and getting caught doing it. So that's the background of this. I think what happened here was, and this is just you can call it fan fiction if you want, really don't care. I've had enough to drink tonight that I really am not going to get dragged down by that. But I think after following this carefully, they pigeonholed it into, well, okay, these three guys that the Falcons talked to, it was after they reached agreement and it dealt with travel arrangements and other logistics. I just don't buy that. I think that they were talking to these guys during that negotiating window when they weren't allowed to. Kirk Cousins admitted 4 different ways they had tampered with him during his introductory press conference right after he signed his contract. And even before Kirk Cousins blurted out all the different ways they had tampered with him, I was suspicious about the Falcons getting to the point where they're comfortable guaranteeing $100 million to a guy that all we saw was him on a tennis court throwing a football. How do you get to the point where you're willing to commit 9 figures to a 35-year-old quarterback who blew out an Achilles, and all you have by way of evidence to feel good about it is what you saw on a basketball court a few weeks before? And anything they would have done to get more information about his health before they made that commitment was tampering, necessarily and positively, because I was sniffing around all that before this happened, because it's like something's not right here. They're talking to somebody they shouldn't be talking to. They're getting information they shouldn't be getting. And here's why it's important. Cousins had to make a decision because the Vikings were going to move on to Sam Darnold. So Cousins needs to know, Falcons, are you with me? Are you paying me? Because otherwise I'm taking this offer in Minnesota. That's what makes it troubling. If the Vikings really wanted him, he needed to make a decision. The Vikings needed to know so they could pivot to another guy if they wanted to. And I think that if the Falcons didn't tamper even before the window opened and didn't get the information they needed about his health, they're just stupid.
Yeah.
How would you commit $100 million to a guy and not know anything about his health?
Well, they drafted Michael Penix after signing him to that, so they could be stupid.
That's an excellent point. It is entirely possible that they are just stupid.
Yeah. Or they think they have the greatest medical staff in the world, where they're like, we'll take Kirk Cousins with an Achilles and then Michael Penix with every leg injury ever.
Yeah, or maybe they drafted Penix just to get his ligaments for Kirk.
Oh.
How long do you guys think that Cousins will be with Atlanta? What's your over-under?
2 years.
2 years sounds about right to me, because that's when the guaranteed money runs out, right? And then you have a first-round pick, and eventually you're going to want to see what that guy can do.
And I feel like it's like maybe wins the NFC South this year, goes to a playoff game, then next year maybe like a slow start, and then that's it.
Here's the key, though. Next year, his compensation is only $27 million. So you could trade him. I know he's got a no-trade clause, but if you want to move on to Michael Penix Jr. and
he wants to play,
wants to make him the starter, he'll waive his trade clause.
Yeah.
People get so caught up by the no-trade clause. Hey, what's my choice? I'm going to get dicked around here in Atlanta, or I'm going to go somewhere else where they want me, and the money's the same. I'll go there, wherever it is, Miami. I mean, that's back to Tua.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay Tua 55 if maybe next year I can get Cousins for 27. And he can come in and run this offense to perfection. Mike McDaniel was a Kyle Shanahan protege. Shanahan has wanted Cousins for years, really, ever since they split ways in Washington. Shanahan's been plotting this path to get back to Kirk Cousins until he got Brock Purdy. So there could be the Dolphins. There could be other teams that want Cousins next year. I think it could be as short as 1 year with Cousins in Atlanta.
I mean, it'd be very interesting if Kirk's not good to go for the start of the season and they put Penix in there and Penix is really, really good, and then you've just got Kirk Cousins on your bench for $100 million guaranteed. That's kind of what I'm rooting for. I think that'd be very funny to see. There's some other rookie quarterbacks out there. 3 people in this room drafted a rookie quarterback. Mm-hmm. So can you give us your initial power rankings of the top 3 quarterbacks taken in the draft?
I love Caleb Williams.
Yep.
I think we spent time with him at the scouting combine, and I was just blown away. You know, when a kid that young just gets it, it oozes out of everything about him.
Yep.
We loved talking to him. We loved it. And I was trying
I loved that you loved it.
I was trying to get him to say he won't play for the Bears and he only wants to play for the Vikings. I really tried my damnedest to get him to do that.
Never.
And Jaden Daniels, hey son, when we I don't know how many guys we interviewed at the combine, defensive players from the SEC. We tried to ask most of them, as long as we could remember, who's the toughest guy you faced in college. And all those guys said Jaden Daniels to a man. It was Jaden Daniels.
It's pretty good
because
conference.
he's there and then he's gone.
Yeah.
And he could be more talented at the end of the day than Caleb Williams. They could both end up being great. The difference between this year and 2021, where you had Trevor Lawrence and 5 guys who've been traded for day 3 picks in 3 years, which is just amazing. These guys are ready to go.
Yes.
Now, Drake May, I think, may take some time. But
heavy ball.
But there's a chance we could go 4 out of 5.
Whoa.
Where these guys end up being good quarterbacks by the time it's all said and done.
Who do you think
to make up for 3 years ago when it was 1 out of 5?
Who's the odd man out?
There's 6. There's 6. I forgot there was 6.
Yeah. So just go ahead, go down that list. Who's the odd man out?
Bo Nix.
I wonder what's going to happen with Nix, and I wonder because we're getting weird signals from Sean Payton about whether it's going to be him or Jarrett Stidham or maybe even Zach Wilson, and I don't know if this is just make the kid earn it. But, people are wondering how much of what happened last year was Russell Wilson. How much is it Sean Payton? Is the game passing him by? He's dealing with a lot of that.
He got LASIK, though.
About it.
Did he get LASIK after he
cataracts
drafted?
Removed.
So did he have the cataracts when he was evaluating Bo Nix?
I don't know. It's a great question. I look at it the other way. If I was one of these guys, I would want to be in Minnesota. Because look at what Kevin O'Connell did last year.
Wait, what team do you root for?
That's fine.
Okay,
but
all right.
I'm capable of being objective.
Okay,
I'm capable of being objective.
So am I. I'm not, but I don't do it, but I am.
Let's compare and contrast.
Okay.
If Caleb Williams comes in and kicks ass and is great,
yes,
and has 4,500 passing yards this year, and the Bears go to the playoffs, Shane Waldron's gone next year.
Okay, that's fine.
And you got to go get a new offensive coordinator and hope it works the following year. Same thing in Washington. If it works,
come on, who cares?
We've seen that time and again.
But you're being mean right now.
Yeah, you're being mean.
It feels like you're being very mean.
My point is,
you're being.
Oh,
mean.
you have an offensive coach.
Because you're like,
if I'm
Big
one of
Cat
these guys,
PFT have never had.
Look at what he did with
happiness.
Josh Dobbs.
You should not be happy, even though you're happy.
For like
Nick
2
fucking
days.
Mullins had a 400-yard passing game last year.
And turned it over like 7 times.
That's okay.
Yeah, then what happened with
the ball?
Okay, so I understand what you're saying, but what if Caleb Williams is so good that Matt Eberflus gets another job?
Well,
that would be crazy.
Really, what I would hope for if I were you, and I feel bad saying this because Matt Eberflus has a completely different demeanor. It's amazing how a guy changes when the best guy in the draft falls into your lap because the Panthers made a shitty trade last year and gave you that pick. But Eberflus, like he's got the goatee and
he's got the hair. No, he got funked up. He got funked up.
He's the man now.
Yeah.
But I'd almost want, if I were you, at some level, I'd be hoping that it struggles just enough so the Bears could hire somebody who is
Jim Harbaugh,
an offensive guru, and you attach him to Caleb Williams' hip for 10 years. Look at what happened with Drew Brees and Sean Payton. That's what you want. You want continuity. You want consistency. Look at the Texans. Bobby Slowick's going to be gone sooner than later. And CJ Stroud's going to have to figure it out with a new coordinator. And that's a big deal. Guy brings in a new playbook. He's got new calls. He's got new attitudes. He's got new approach. How much of that's going to adapt to the guy who's already
I would love
to
have. Like, this is a problem. If you tell me that Caleb Williams throws for 35 touchdowns and,
I know it's
4,000 yards and the Bears go to the playoffs and then we lose Shane Waldron, sign me the fuck up.
You know what the best problem to have is? No problem. That's the best problem.
Yeah, everyone's got a problem. Everyone's got a problem. All right, so this fired me up just talking ball with Mike. I got the football in my hand. I got one last question for you, Mike. Rowback question, RHOBACK.com, promo code TAKE, 20% off your first purchase, Q-zips, polos, hoodies, joggers, shorts, rowback.com, promo code TAKE. It's actually a question and a comment. I'll start with the comment. Was writing this headline maybe one of the lowest points of your career in terms of holy shit, we need football back? Mike Florio published this today, actually. Today, Sunday, Father's Day. He's working on Father's Day. U.S. Olympic swimming trials set attendance record at Lucas Oil Stadium. Hey, that's your NFL tie-in, that it happened at the Colts Stadium.
Listen. Lucas Oil Stadium is in the top quartile of the upper quartile of all stadiums, as Jim Irsay would say. And don't you accuse me of pandering to my corporate overlords when all I got to do is look around at all that stuff.
It's Olympics. It's Olympics. All right, that's fine. But I just saw that headline. I was like, we're talking about a swimming record at a football stadium?
Was the roof open? Did you open the roof for it? That's the big question.
I have to keep
that's
the
a good
cock
tie-in.
happy.
Yes, all right. You got to keep the cock happy. All right, now give us we've talked a lot of facts that Mike Florio knows. Let's go opinions that Mike Florio is thinking. Give us a team you think is going to surprise us when we get back to football. What team you
Steelers.
got? Oh, Steelers.
Okay, so you like Russ.
You think Russ?
Or Justin Fields. I just think that bringing Arthur Smith in there, and it's funny how many Steelers fans lose their shit because Arthur Smith, he stunk as a head coach. Yeah, but he was good enough as a coordinator to become a head coach.
True.
Now he's a coordinator again. So he's not your head coach. He's running the offense. I feel like there was just enough shit that went down late last year with Mike Tomlin maybe considering his options, and enough of that trickled up to Art Rooney II, the guy who runs the team, to realize we got to do something about our offense. So in comes Arthur Smith. They blow up the quarterback depth chart. They've still got a great defense. And look at what they've managed to do. Tomlin's superpower is to take a room full of guys that you would individually look at them and say, okay, and slap them all together and make it into a playoff team. And I know other coaches who will, and this isn't just Antonio Brown. There are others that fall into this bucket. Guys who played for Tomlin that go elsewhere and they're like, this guy's a fucking pain in the ass. I had no idea this guy's a fucking pain in the ass. How does Mike Tomlin do it? He knows how to speak to the better angels of all these players and get the most out of them. You bring in Russell Wilson, who's on his last chance. This is it for him. If he blows it now, he's done.
He took a team-friendly deal, Mike. I read that headline.
Well, no, he didn't take a team-friendly deal.
I know.
Yeah,
That's
the Broncos are paying $39 million this year.
That's what Schefter said. He took a team-friendly
Yeah, what the fuck?
deal.
Yeah, it's no team-friendly deal.
I know.
This is his last chance. He's got to hold off Justin Fields, and he's got to play well this year because after this year, he's gone. He's free agent. Fields after this year, he's gone. He's a free agent. In a weird sort of way, it's like the old Seinfeld episode where Lloyd Braun and Costanza were trying to sell computers and the winner gets a water pick and the loser gets fired. One of these guys is getting the starting job in 2025 and one of them is getting fired.
Yeah.
And I think what's going to happen once those Steelers fans start seeing what Justin Fields can do on the ground, and if he's running circles around guys playing second string in the preseason, they're going to fall in love with him. So Russ had better get it done because if he struggles at all, the Steelers fans are going to be chanting for Justin Fields.
Yeah.
And I think Tomlin knows how to handle all that. But I think when you see the odds out there, I think that we had the DraftKings odds on PFT Live recently. It's stunning how little people believe in the Steelers based upon where the odds currently are.
Okay, yeah, and Justin Fields, one of the best games he played as a pro. I was there Monday Night Football against the Steelers at Heinz Field, so they know.
And people forget that's also where Russ did his little pantomimed huddle thing, where he was pretending to call plays when he was injured.
Pittsburgh?
That was at Heinz Field, yeah. So he's got experience running visual drills on that field.
Whoa!
Because I think that might have been where he did the fake fist bumps too.
For some reason, I thought that was at Lambeau, but then Lambeau was the game that he came back. Remember when he got healed so fast?
It was a miracle, yeah.
It was a miracle, but then he sucked because he clearly still had a broken thumb.
Yeah. Oh, Mike, I got a topic just to get you wound up on real quick because I'm sure that Chiefs fans love you. How do you feel about the Chiefs offseason this year, most specifically dealing with legal issues?
Well, I know this. They must really love Rashee Rice because we know how this goes. If you're good enough, they'll twist themselves, and not just the Chiefs, any team at any level in any sport will twist themselves into knots to excuse bad behavior. If you're borderline or scrub, you're gone. You're the guy we're going to make the example out of. And they really do believe in Rashee Rice. And one of the things I learned when I was poking around on some of these edges with we all know about the street racing incident, 8 felony charges that are pending. There could be more because he's yet to be charged with leaving the scene of an accident involving injuries. So he's got legal issues, and I'll be surprised if he's playing week 1. He's either going to be on the commissioner's exempt list or he will have pled guilty to one or more of these felonies and he'll be suspended under the personal conduct policy. They love him because he came in last year and he figured out the offense quickly, faster than Tyreek Hill did. He had a better first year in Kansas City in the Andy Reid offense than Tyreek Hill did. So they see a ceiling for him that is just going to potentially explode. That's why they're dealing with it. And the other thing too is, and we've seen players like this over the years, when they go back home and run with guys that they've known their whole life, they get influenced in a certain way. You know, it's the whole Aaron Hernandez thing. If he'd have been drafted by the Seahawks or the Rams or the Chargers and away from New England, who knows what the alternate universe might be. But to be around those guys in Dallas like Rice was, I think the Chiefs believe if they can use everything they have to get him pointed in the right direction, keep him away from the guys in Dallas that have gotten him into trouble, that he'll break a certain way. But 8 felonies, we've seen the video. I don't know how he gets out of this without a major problem with the NFL. So he's going to miss some time to start the season, I believe. But the Chiefs are tolerating it because they know what he can do. And look, I picked the Chiefs to win the last 2 Super Bowls, and it really isn't a stretch. I mean, really. Now, and the thing I love about the Chiefs, because I remember growing up in the 70s and the Steelers would kick the shit out of everybody, and then another team would come along and kick the shit out of everybody. The Chiefs make every game they're in interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The playoff games, there's never a blowout. Every Super Bowl they got to come from behind. It's like going to a Batman movie. You know Batman isn't going to get killed, but you're going to have moments where you're like, oh, what's going to happen to Batman? That's what happens with the Chiefs. So It's never boring. It's always exciting. And hell, I mean, even with everything that's happened this offseason, does anybody really think they're just going to go away this year? I don't.
No.
They're going to win again.
Yeah, they're going to win.
Do you want to pick them to win again right now?
No, but I probably will by September.
I just did. I picked them to win again.
All right. Well, Mike, everyone please do go buy Mike's book. He is one of our favorite guests. Like I said, you can't tell this history of Pardon My Take without Mike Florio. It was great just talking ball.
Yeah.
It feels
have you ever read, you were starting to read my Christmas book, but I never heard from you again, so I assume you didn't finish it.
No, I did. I read a couple pages. I got the gist of it.
Good.
I got the gist of it.
I read it, and then Blake took it from me, and he started eating it. And
I love Blake. Blake is awesome. I want another dog so bad. I love my dog.
Happy.
I just want another one.
He looked very happy while he was eating it, so he loved your book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably better on the way in than the way out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the gist of it. It's a book.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. But Mike, you are the best. And welcome to Phase Me. We'll talk to you maybe in August.
Thanks.
What's after Phase Me?
Guys.
Is it Phase U? Phase We?
I don't know.
Phase P?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay.
All right. Well, enjoy Phase Me.
All right, Mike.
I'm sorry to end on such a low note. I don't have anything witty to say. So what the fuck? All I can say is goodbye. And I love you, Hank.
Hank just did the wrap it up thing where he's like, Mike is talking too much.
Go.
He did that.
Let's go.
So
Let's go.
Get fired up at Hank again.
No, that's fine. I'm fine now.
No. Okay. All right. Well, Mike, you're the best.
Guys.
All right. Love you.
Love you. Bye, Mike. Part of My Take is sponsored by BetterHelp. When life goes so fast, it's important to take a moment to celebrate your wins and make adjustments for the rest of the year. Therapy can help you take stock of your progress and set achievable goals for the next 6 months. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Take a moment. Visit BetterHelp.com/PMT today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp. That's HELP.com/PMT.
Okay, we're running long, so we'll put Monday reading to next Monday because it can wait. Max has been here the entire time. Now, Max missed his flight because he was so sad about Thursday's show, so he missed the show today, but he's been listening the whole time. He's been taking notes for Max's Minute. So, Max, hello. What did we get wrong?
Hello. Not much that was actually wrong. I just have some notes of things that I would like to say.
Okay.
Ready?
You're like Luca Brasi right now.
Okay.
Why are you not able to speak?
I can speak.
Okay.
I'm literally speaking.
By the way, shout out Big Dom for sending us these.
Big Dom's the best.
Great.
Big Dom sent us a care package, and I texted Big Dom a picture of it and said, thank you so much. And he just replied, my paisans. And I love it.
I hate how much I love
my
Big Dom.
brother was so excited when I showed him that response that it just said my paisans.
My paisans.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
Loser winner thing, mean. Loser tried to show up. Loser hates Philadelphia airport. The Philly airport is dead to the loser.
Wait, what?
Hank's wrestling.
What was this?
This is my minute.
He's referring to himself as the
minute.
loser.
Okay, you are the loser.
The loser minute.
Is a loser in the room with you right now?
I'm the loser.
Okay.
That was when you were doing like the whole metaphor thing of like there's a loser and the loser didn't show up.
Got it.
Oh, you mean like Bryson and Rory? Yeah.
So you're Rory?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Rory.
I'm Rory. Correct.
Minus the hundreds of millions of dollars.
And the major championships.
All right. You're the one who said it.
What? You sound
The
really
hypothetical.
You were the one who was inferring that I was the loser.
So what do
I
you
think, no, you just heard, you inferred yourself.
Yeah, we never said anything about you.
What they said was up for interpretation, and you interpreted it.
we were talking, we were doing the show, and you were literally writing, I think they're talking about me because they mentioned a loser.
I distinctly did not mention your name. I was saying that we would never do something like that on this show.
I hate you guys.
Okay.
Can I continue?
0 for 1.
Hank's resting anger face is so much worse than Bryson's.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't. We're talking about Bryson, so 0 for 2.
0 for 2.
We're talking about Patrick Cantlay.
Yeah, we're talking about Patrick Cantley.
Okay.
Yeah.
Over 2.
Actually, yeah, no, Patrick Hanley and Hank kind of similar in that respect.
I'm gonna pull up his face right
You do not have a dumpy body like he does.
No, soon though.
What?
I'm trying to get a fat ass
You are?
now. BBL Hank.
for dunking lower body.
How fat are we talking?
I mean, just anything that's like not inverted would be nice. You know?
Permission to look when you get it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You get caked up on a side?
Nice. Peaches.
That's gonna look real good with a shaved head.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to look like Sigourney Weaver in Alien.
Hot.
Hot. You didn't see that movie.
No.
Okay. Max, 0 for 2.
Tatum went 15-5 and 3 on 4 of 10 shooting. He is now shooting 36% from the field and 29% from 3 this series. I just thought that we should talk about that.
Okay, that's actually a good addition.
Consider
One
it
for
talked
3.
about.
Yeah. 1 for 3, similar to Tatum shooting.
Yep.
Would you say
Very
that you're having
similar.
a good show then?
What?
Would you say you're having a good show right now?
You went 1 for 3.
No, I'm having a bad show.
Okay.
Good. You're smart. You're learning. Smart.
The Kristaps get him on the court to win a championship was such a dumb statement. There's no way that they would just put him on the court for no reason.
I don't know why, but in the moment I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Like just trot him out there at the end of a game. What were you thinking, Hank? Like in like the third quarter they would get him out there?
No, like they're up, 15-20, and then he checks in.
For the last like 30 seconds?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh,
In
so
the NBA, no, they wouldn't do that.
We'll see. There's still time.
Okay. Joel Embiid, very talented man, not tampering. Men are allowed to roll their eyes.
Might have been
Orioles.
They're allowed to roll their eyes. I don't know about that.
They
Hank
are-
rolls his eyes all the time.
I think that's more of a woman's thing.
That's what?
Rolling your eyes. I don't know if men are allowed to roll their eyes.
Men roll their
Yes, they are.
R's.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's not illegal.
Well, I think it should be. Okay, keep going.
All right, fine. Orioles would have had to sweep the series if you were to consider it a throttling. You don't know throttling.
Okay, well, they throttled them because they lost one game in extra innings and they beat them 6-2 and 8-2. They throttled them.
That means nothing.
And also
they
there
won
was
2
a-
games. They
There
won
was
2 games. They lost 1.
Yeah, they throttled them.
A throttling would be a sweep.
In the games that they beat them, they throttled them.
No, the game yesterday was not a throttling. It was a
6-2?
1-run, but it was a 1-run game, and then they
Throttled.
got a bunch of insurance runs.
And they
in
throttled.
that.
The insurance runs, yeah.
They throttled them. And
They-
you
yeah,
all
but it
you
was-
They
it
really
was a close
technically they
game.
had a
Yesterday was a
one-run
good
lead,
game.
and then all the other runs were just insurance.
right
Yesterday was a good game.
throttled today.
What? I don't know. Water Dogs just don't have a face-off guy, which is crazy.
Is
They
that
just
true?
choose to lose.
What about
They choose
Sowers?
to lose every face-off, guys.
Is this
No,
our-
he's just a score guy. He's a guy who scores.
So is our new coach just not doing face-offs?
I think they just don't do face-offs because I think their face-off guy got hurt, and they just choose not to do face-offs.
Because that's how
They
we
lose
lost
every one.
on Saturday. Was they just won
Yes.
the face-off in overtime and scored 2 seconds later?
Yes, that guy had 3 goals just off of the face-off guy.
Yeah.
That's
So-
the problem.
Crazy.
Should we get a new face-off guy? Or should we wait for our face-off guy to get healthy?
I don't know. We need a face-off guy.
This seems.
I learned
like
a lot
an
about
issue.
Lax this weekend. It was kind of fun.
Okay.
Go Birds. we were just talking about birds.
Okay.
I talked to Jack Mack. He said there's no bugs in the Impossible meat. That was something I wanted to come back to. when we were talking
Okay.
Got it.
It's soy,
you
right?
wanted to know if there were bugs
Yeah.
in the Impossible meat.
No bugs.
bugs.
Okay. All right. So I'm still
and
kind
lastly-
of on Joey's side.
Lastly, I would like to ask Hank if Game 5 is must win.
Oh,
We talked about it, but we never
great.
said- but we
Good question.
asked the question.
Hank or Max, you may officially be having a great show.
Yes.
It's a must win.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that means
what
that
happened?
when you said earlier that you weren't nervous at all, then you lied.
Yeah,
You
because
lied.
A must win. You have to be nervous about a must win.
I told you I was a little nervous. I'm 50% nervous.
No, but
No.
you're way more than 15 if it's a must
Must
win.
wins are not 15%.
But it's at home. It's 617.
Is it a must win?
It is 6-1.
It's 6-1.
It's a must win.
617.
If it's a must win, you have to be nervous.
I told you guys I was a little nervous.
Not must win nervous. You sound more like can't lose nervous.
But every game's a must win.
Don't do that. No.
Every single game.
No, this last game wasn't a must
Yeah.
win. You were up 3-0.
Friday night was not a must win.
But now it's 3-1.
You
Okay.
should have made Friday night a must win.
Sounds like you didn't take Friday night as a must win.
No, I didn't, and I learned from my mistakes.
So now every game's a must win.
Yes.
Okay.
So you are nervous.
A little bit, yeah.
It sounds like you're a lot nervous.
A lot nervous.
If you're making must
For a
win.
must wins.
Yeah. You're up 3-1. You're basically up. Well, no, you were up 3-0.
Great job, Max.
Thank you. I muted myself. I'm sorry. Thank you.
okay. All right. Good show, boys. Good show. It's great being back in studio.
Oh, Max, do you have any comment about the guy on the Eagles that was caught on camera after banging an OnlyFans model, and then she videotaped him running naked down the hotel room hallway?
He was probably sleepwalking.
Okay.
Oh.
All right, that's fair.
It was more sleep running.
Yeah, it was a very funny
I just
video.
have no idea what you're talking about.
It was a very funny video.
It sounds like you're not locked in on your birds.
It was Terrell Lewis.
T-Lou.
I don't even know who that is.
T-Lou likes the OnlyFans ladies, allegedly. And then the OnlyFans lady tagged him and a bunch of coaches from the Eagles on Twitter.
Big Dom will take care of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Numbers.
8.
20.
18.
I'm not going to do
3.
one. I'm not. I don't
You
deserve- I
have to
don't
do
deserve a
one.
number.
You're on the show. You have to do one.
6 or 17.
All right, fine. 56, but this is Mickey Mouse if I win.
No, it's not. It's a real ball.
What? 6 or
I'm not here.
17?
He's trying to take 617.
Yeah, but you can't do two numbers.
All right, 17.
That's
was
a panic
crazy.
move.
No, I just want to
That-
try to sneak one in there. You never know.
It almost worked.
Sneak in two numbers? Okay. Shane?
21. 99 Pug.
Pug's got the headphones on.
Yeah, Pug.
Holly
Okay.
Pug.
Holly Pug.
Pug the plug.
Pug, what, real quick,
Terms
anything
and
you want to
conditions apply.
apologize for?
What? You're getting hit up for tickets?
No,
now?
no, not that. I don't care.
That I didn't end with Pug.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
You-
caught up in them. I was too focused on the ad read.
You
and
did a
not
whole
on the
ad,
Pug.
and I was like, who did this?
I know.
You just never said Pug.
I dropped an immediate apology, though. Pug.
Okay.
Terms apply.
Terms. All right, Memes, what was your number?
3.
Max, have you ever gotten this?
No.
So I'm actually kind of rooting for Max to get this because he said he doesn't want it to count. So you're saying it won't count?
No, you said it counted, so I said it'd be Mickey Mouse.
Okay, so it will be Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
24.
Love you guys.
Imagine if it was 20.
You would not have reacted that way if it
I
was
know.
20.
I know.
We would just cut your screen off.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have come back.
If it was 20, yeah, I don't know.
All right. See everyone Wednesday.
Love you guys.